What's going on, everyone? This is BunnyMuffins. Today we are going to go unranked to diamond in around 3 hours. We're going to play 6 games, and I'm going to show you guys 1 game from iron, 1 game from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and then finally diamond, just to show you guys how to play at each elo and what works, what doesn't. Some of these games, they're going to be games where maybe you get contested a little, or maybe you plan to do one thing at the beginning and then had to pivot into something else because of some wacky interaction in the game. For example, sometimes I go attack damage compositions and I only get AP items instead. What are you supposed to do in those situations? I'm going to show you guys all that today. If you're higher level than a certain elo, go ahead and feel free to skip to that section. That's perfectly okay. You could watch the whole thing because I try to play at least pretty consistently no matter who I'm facing. I try not to change my playstyle too much, no matter what rating I'm at. But we are going to cover a ton of different comps. I believe we're playing 6 different comps. We have a Viego game, we have a Heart game, a Nunu game, one weird Flex game, one Yumi game where we're contested, and then the last game, I'll leave as a surprise because we were playing Flex and then we just pivot into something a little goofy. Let's focus on the first game. This one is the game in Iron. We have 2 belts to start off with, which is really good. We get a Warmogs. I find win streaking is really important in lower ratings, and double belt is a perfect way to kind of just get a free win streak during stage 2. But we have also a pretty good Renegade starts, and it always depends what's strong on that current patch. Some patches it's going to be different, but you always have to pay attention to what are like solid openers. So openers are different comps you can kind of play at the beginning. I'll get into that a little bit later. Let's talk about the augments right now. So first thing first, we have Thrill of the Hunt, First Aid Kit, and Target Dummies. So Target Dummies is really good if you don't have a frontline. So if you have all range units and you have like maybe an upgraded Kale, a Draven, and maybe some other range unit, you could go ahead and take Phony Frontline and they act as your tanks while your backline DPSs. Great in other things such as stall comps. First Aid Kit, it's going to be really good for team comps that heal a lot. Things like mascots, stuff like Annie, she gives herself a shield. And then Thrill of the Hunt is just really solid if you want to try to play for a win streak because it heals a flat amount. So obviously that flat amount is going to have a bigger impact in the early game. So if you have any upgrades or if you have a bunch of pairs or like a strong opener, in this case we have like a medium opener, I'd say like medium to solid, maybe like a 6 or 7 out of 10 if I had to give some sort of numerical rating. I hate reducing TFT units down to a simple number, but hey, it happens as humans as well. But Renegades, it's like, I'd say a pretty solid opener. It's a little weird because it's hard to get because you need 3 specific early game units because there just are not that many Renegade units. That's going to be Talon, Silas, and Camille. And when you do get that combination, it's decently solid in the early game if you have one of them 2-starred, and we had the Warmogs to really top it off. So another thing you need to pay attention to is with items and champions, you need to have a mix of both damage and tankiness. So Talon is our damage unit, and Sivir in this case is our damage unit also. One of them is upgraded to 2-star. So if we were to build an item, it would ideally be a tank item because our 2 tanks, Camille and Silas, they're both 1-star, so they're not that strong. So the 2-star Talon makes up for our damage, and the Warmogs on the Silas makes us a little tankier. So that's kind of like a simple mix and match. Obviously, in this game, we didn't really have a choice, but it just so happened to be that way. But if you do have a choice, always mix up your damage and tankiness. For example, let's say we had a bow, rod, and a belt, kind of similar to what we have now. We just, instead of having 2 belts, we have 1 bow. You could go for either the tank item in ZZ Rot Portal or go for a damage item in Rage Blade. And if you have a 2-star tank, maybe go for the damage item. And if you have a 2-star damage dealer, maybe go for the tank item. It's always going to depend specifically on that particular game, but that's generally the rule of thumb that I use. But let's look at the shops that we have here. We're playing Renegade, so it's pretty simple to kind of just stick with the same game plan. In this specific instance, I would have actually sold Sivir and played Rammus instead. Rammus is just a much stronger unit, and this game was played pretty early in the set, so a lot of things were a little more not as defined. And turns out Rammus is a really strong unit in the early game, so I definitely make a mistake here. And we're going to cover a lot of mistakes. It's perfectly fine to make mistakes. No one plays TFT perfectly, and if someone does claim that they do play TFT perfectly, they're probably lying. This goes for anything in life, not just TFT. If someone thinks they are truly an expert and they're not like literally a world champion or something like that, they're probably not, you know, because if you have to say you are, then you aren't. Also, if anyone actually claims they make no mistakes, like the best players in the world, they criticize themselves every single turn. So it just really isn't a basis for anything. It sounds great because people like people who sound confident and stuff, and I'm not against that, but mistakes will happen and we'll definitely cover them. I'll try to point as many out as I can, especially since I've improved a lot since I played this game, since this was on a fresh account when the set just released. For items here, we had the rod, so we don't have too many choices here. Our choices were belt, chain, and Negatron. So I want to keep win streaking because we're on a triple streak. And in lower elo, it's really easy to, sorry, I shouldn't say really easy. It is much easier to win streak than lose streak because sometimes some people just really don't know how to play the early game. And if you try to lose streak, you'll accidentally beat someone. So it's much easier just to play for win streak. That's why we leveled up a little bit aggressively. We leveled up to level 5 on stage 2-5. And this is what I say in my leveling guide whenever you are going for kind of a win streak start. I'll link the leveling guide up here. But right now, we might force the Viego comp because we have the Renegade start. I'm not saying you have to force it, but if you're not that familiar with flexing every single comp, if you get a Renegade opener, it's pretty logical just to slide slowly into a Viego comp because Viego is the Renegade carry. And to do that, you want Ionic Spark. It's just the best item on Viego because he reduces the magic resistance of people around him. And since he jumps around a bit, the effect of Ionic Spark, which deals damage to enemy units whenever they cast a spell, is very, very useful. So that's why we went for the Negatron there. Also, again, since we're win streaking, we want to build items in order to get an earlier power spike. A lot of people tell me, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with my items or what's best item for this champion. And honestly, you don't need to build the best item for each champion every game. It's actually like a noob trap to do that because a lot of people, they'll have a lot of items on their bench, never build them, and then all of a sudden, once they get perfect items and maybe even the 2-star version of their carry, they're at 10 life because they didn't build items early on. And that's just not a situation you want to be in because, I mean, items are there to save health. They give your board power. And since we took Thrill of the Hunt, since we're trying to win streak, we're going to be slamming as many items as possible. So now you may be wondering, should I have put the Ionic Spark on Silas or Talon? I actually think I should have put it on Talon. Normally, it's good to stack items on one unit. However, there are cases where you can't find another Talon, but you want to swap his items over to Viego, and it's hard to do because you can't find a new Talon, and you need the other Talon for Oxforce and Renegade. It's just the perfect synergies, right? So those games can be a little tricky. That's why I try to use Silas as my item holder if I can help it. But if I'm really desperate, you probably, or if you really need to be super strong, you should put the Ionic Spark on Talon. So the way to find out when you do need to be super strong is by scouting. But scouting, I would say focus on that a little bit later. In Iron, no one's going to be scouting you or scouting you effectively, let's say. And because of that, like, you should just focus on the basic core mechanics of the game, which, look at what I just did. I leveled up to level 6 at 3-1. So again, this is in my leveling guide, but on 3-1, you typically do not want to level up here. However, since we're win streaking, we want to keep that win streak in order to get the win streak gold. And I believe you get 3 extra gold when you're on a 5-game win streak, which we're on now. So if we keep winning, we get 3 extra gold per round, plus the 1 extra gold for winning the round. So that's 4 extra gold if we win this round. And we lost, I think, 1 gold of interest because it costs, I think, 16 to level up here. And because of that, you're losing 1 gold to raise your chances of getting 4 gold. So it's a pretty easy trade-off. And if you are on a streak on all of stage 2, generally you want to level up to level 6 on 3-1, especially if no one else is win streaking. Like, you could tell on the right-hand side if anyone has a flaming circle around them. So if we're playing Viego, very easy pick here. It's Battle Mage. Scope Weapons doesn't do anything. Portable Forge is good for it, but Battle Mage is like one of the best augments for Viego. Let's think about Viego for a second. He's a melee unit, and he likes ability power. So this one, Battle Mage, you just need to be in the front 2 lines to get bonus AP and armor. And that's just exactly what Viego wants. So that was a pretty no-brainer augment pick, so that's good news for us. And another thing to pay attention to, normally when you get 2 non-hero augments, generally, like most of the time, I think it's around like 90% of the time, but it sort of depends on what augments you get. The third augment will be a champion augment, which are typically 3 and 4 cost units. I've seen 5 costs, but it's pretty rare. So on stage 4-2, when we get our next augment round, we're probably going to get a Viego. A Viego augment, which gives us a free Viego. So we could prepare for that, and that means we don't really need to roll too hard during stage 3. Sometimes in an aggressive meta, which it is right now in set 8, they change player damage, so people take a lot more damage now. And because of that, people are playing much more aggressively. They're rolling down on 3-2 all the way to 0 gold sometimes. On 4-1, they're rolling down to 0. But since we're pretty high health, and we know we're guaranteed to get a 4-cost unit of our choice, we don't need to play as aggressively in this specific game. But we picked up the Echo here. We're going to be playing some of the Aegis units. It also gives us a little more Ox Force because we're playing Alistair. Fiora is also an Ox Force. We're at 3 Ox Force right now. We'll get to 4 eventually once we get Viego, or Annie, but we don't really need to sweat too much about that right now. So when you play Viego, the core comp is really just 3 Renegade. You could run anything else after that. You could go up to 6 Renegade if you get a Spatula item or Emblem item. You could play as many Ox Force or as little Ox Force as you want. And you could just play random legendary units to really pair up with it. So this comp, it really just relies around hitting Viego and ideally a secondary carry. That's going to depend on what you're actually hitting that game and what augments you get. So if you get a lot of like Spatula augments, then obviously you could do something a little more crazy. But if it's like a basic game, I generally just play 3 Renegade with like some tanks and maybe like an Aurelion Soul to soften people up for Viego. Or anyone in the backline can do. I've seen so many different combinations, so definitely feel free to experiment. If you do want to see like very specific team compositions, head on over to my website, bunnymuffins.lol/meta. I update a meta snapshot or tier list every single Friday, and I've been doing this for around, I think, 3 years now. It's been a very long time. It might be the longest standing player run website. I think no individual player has updated consistently for that long. So I'm kind of proud of that. It's pretty cool. So it's just always going to be updated. Even when I've been on vacation, it's been updated because either I try to do it while I'm on break or in advance, or I have someone help me do it. But right here, we got the Aurelion Soul that we wanted. We got a Rod off Carousel, which is pretty nice. Ooh, I sold the Aurelion Soul. I actually think I should have kept it and played it here because he could hold the Jeweled Gauntlet for my Viego. I don't want these items on Silas because Silas is 1-starred right now. You generally want to itemize your 2-cost units, your 2-starred units, and having a Silas 1 with triple items, I'm going to get away with doing this because we're in lower elo right now, but when you get higher, it's not going to fly. I definitely should have kept the Aurelion Soul because he's just a more powerful unit than Silas. Aurelion Soul costs 4 gold, Silas costs 1 gold. Aurelion Soul is a damage unit, Jeweled Gauntlets is a damage item. I just should have kept him and played it there. You could have also played Zoe if you wanted. That's an option as well, but I think Aurelion Soul is a little bit better. In this next shop here, we see another Echo, so we'll just buy that, and we don't really need to do that much more in our turn here. I actually did end up buying the Zoe and just replacing it for my extra Camille, for my Fiora, and it just gives Echo Prankster. I mean, if you didn't do that, it's fine. If you did do it, it's also fine. They're both like approximately similar strength. Maybe the Prankster's a little bit better, but which is what I ended up doing, but it's not that big of a deal. So here, this guy's got a Jax, pretty beefy guy. And I think we do end up losing this because he has Ascension. We don't really have our carry set up. And we're going to think about when we want to roll down. And first, I guess I could give you guys a pop quiz right now. Like, when would you guys roll? Would you guys roll on level 7, level 8? What stage would you hit level 8 if you did answer that you wanted to go to level 8? And then also, how much gold would you roll? What units would you be looking for? And how many star levels do you want on your units? For example, if you're looking for Viego, are you happy with a Viego 1? Do you want a Viego 2 and roll down to 0 until you get it? Let me know down in the comments. And also for this video, since it's pretty long, give me a timestamp of when you asked your question. That way we can, or I can kind of know like which part you're referring to. So we get double sword here. Not that ideal, because we really only need 1 sword item, either 1 healing item or Giant Slayer. But we already have a lot of items for our Viego, so I guess we could use the swords for like a secondary carry, which I guess it's okay. Maybe a Spira Shojin on Aurelion Sol would be fine. But we just pick up these extra tank units. We're going to go ahead and wait to see what our next augment is. So against this guy, what's he playing? He's playing like a LeBlanc with Thrill the Hunt and Ascension. But we do have the 2-star Zoe. That definitely helps us out a bunch. We also opted not to level up to level 8 yet or roll down on level 7. And the reason why is because we're at 84 life points right now. So we're in no danger. We could use our health as a resource right now and just guarantee becoming as strong as we can by the time we reach like maybe 50 health. We got a little unlucky here. Notice how before I said with the augments, we'd most likely get a 4-cost augment. Sometimes you get triple threes. It happens, you know. I would have really liked that 4-cost augment, but since we have triple threes, re-rolling doesn't give you a 4-cost one. It only gives you the same tier 3 units, but we're just going to go ahead and grab the Alistair. Alistair, you're just always going to run him. He's Oxforce, and what's the worst that can happen if you run him? You know, like all the other options were pretty trash. We don't really care about Zoe and stuff like that. So he's going to gain 10 mana per second and do some CC. That's pretty cool, you know? So you probably want to put him on the edge so that units wrap around him. So if I don't end up doing that here, that would be a mistake. In terms of leveling up, we are 24 out of 56 gold, so it would cost us 32 gold to level up, and then that would leave us with around 20 gold to roll with. So you could level up to level 8 here, but again, since we're 84 life right now, we could just chill and get the extra interest instead. If we do end up losing these next 2 rounds, which we probably should because this guy rolled down, right? If you roll down, like you're going to be stronger. Or if you spend your gold, you're going to be stronger. So I don't really mind losing these rounds because we're just playing more for the late game. And you can do that in situations where you win streaked in the early game because you just have a lot of health. We see this Annie in our next shop. She's not like that great, but I mean, if you get her, you get her. You could play 4 Oxforce. So if you do want to play 4 Oxforce, and let's assume that we don't get a Philios, would you rather run Alistair, Talon, Viego plus Annie or plus Fiora? Honestly, it really doesn't matter, so just whoever you 2-star first. Maybe Annie is a slightly better tank because she makes more use of the Oxforce effect because she'll get to 0 health, or sorry, she'll get to 1 health, and then the Oxforce thing will proc on her, and then she'll cast her shield, so it gives her like a little extra burst of tankiness. So I'd probably pick Annie in an ideal world, but like if Fiora's 2-starred, Annie's 1-starred, I just play the Fiora, and then I wouldn't hold extra Annies to lose interest with, you know. If it doesn't cost me any interest, then yeah, I'll keep it, but in most cases, it doesn't make that much of a difference, so don't worry too much about that. What you need to worry about is just the regular basics is TFT, which is when are we going to roll for our Viego. All right, so this Renekton's kind of whacking us down a little bit. I don't think Zoe's great in 1v1 scenarios because she does like all those damage over time, and yeah, it's just not that conducive to winning 1v1s. So what item do we want here? We have 2 swords and a chain. We probably want like a Giant Slayer or a healing item, so like maybe Bloodthirster, Hexa Gunblade. There's also an Aphelios there if we want to take it. There's a Viego, but he has a sword. You could build Edge and Knight on him. It's not the worst item in the world, but I'd probably just prefer getting something else. Like maybe even the Alistair, get a tank item. We do end up getting the Viego. I actually really disagree with this decision. I probably would have taken a tank item here. Let's level up and roll though. We go up to level 8. By the way, rolling here, it's like, since we do have a Viego already, you don't have to do it, but look at our board. It's really weak. We're still running a Silas 1. And I actually sell my Viego for God knows what reason. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm probably just trolling. Lots of mistakes this game, but that's okay. That's why we get to review some of our games. A lot of people wonder like, oh, how do you actually climb in TFT? Sometimes it's much better to just watch your old games rather than just play a lot because you get to see a lot of the dumb mistakes you did, and then you're like, oh, maybe that's why I lost, not because I got unlucky. So that is like a thing you just develop over time. And there's always something you could have done differently, you know. This Jax guy is probably going to demolish us here, which is fine because we didn't really roll that much. We still have 30 gold. We're level 8, so we have like a ton more gold than this guy. So he could definitely beat us here. We'll go down to like maybe 55 health since it's going to be a small loss, but it's really not the end of the world or anything. We probably should have rolled to like maybe 20 and just kept the sword on our Viego because we could have built Edge of Night or like Bloodthirster on him just to keep him alive a little longer. For Viego, you need some sort of healing. We do have Thrill of the Hunt, so you don't like need it. So maybe Edge of Night wouldn't have been so bad here. But ideally, I think Giant Slayer if I could pick my item out of a hat. Not too much in this shop, so we'll just skip to the next round. So we just killed the dragon. We got like items galore here, but they're a little awkward. We're going to roll down for our Viego too, maybe get some Ox Force. Maybe we even get a Viego, you know. We're still running the Zoe. I don't know if we need her. She does give us Prankster, but it's not like the most important thing in the world. It's probably Giant Slayer here or Titan's Resolve. Titan's Resolve is another extremely good item on Viego. It's similar to Battle. It's essentially Battle Mage, right? It gives us AP and like resistances. But Giant Slayer is also good. That one's really tough. Maybe you build the Titans on Viego, and then you save the swords for your Aphelios. Aphelios doesn't like need those items, but they're pretty decent. Also here, I'm just running a random Sejuani because she just CCs half the enemy team, which is pretty much always useful. So even if you don't have the Brawler augment, you could still play Sejuani, or sorry, Brawler trait active. You could still play Sejuani just because her CC is so good if you have an extra slot to fit in, which in this case, I'd say that we do. Great items for her is Protector's Vow, the one we just built, because it gives her a lot of bonus mana and it just allows her to cast much earlier in the fight. And when you cast earlier in a fight, it just has much greater impact because the fights definitely snowball really quickly. And the first unit you kill faster, or the more units you have alive because they're CC'd, like it just allows your units to just activate more, you know, and then it just snowballs the fight out of control. But we'll eventually replace her, maybe with like a Fiddlesticks or something, or play both of them if we go level 9. We're pretty chilling at this point. There's not too much we need to do. We don't need to roll for that much. If we look at our board, you only want to roll if you want to get stronger. So looking at our team right now, the only unupgraded units is going to be our Camille, our Sejuani, and our Aurelian Soul. So Sejuani is a 4-cost unit. We do have a pair of Sejuani, so you could debate rolling here. Upgrading Camille doesn't really matter because she's a 2-cost unit. She's really just there for Aegis, and we'd replace her with Leona anyways. Aurelian Soul, we just play it so that we get anti-heal, so 1-star versus 2-star doesn't really make that much of a difference, so we don't really need to roll that badly here. And looking at other people in the lobby, you may have noticed that we scouted around a little bit. Like, the other boards just aren't really that strong. That's just going to be a thing you gain with experience based on, in terms of judging how strong enemy boards are. And it's a very important skill. So one way to kind of train that instinct is, or that judgment, is to predict who will win in every single one of your fights. Don't just like AFK when the fight round happens, you know. Just look at the fight before it begins, predict who's going to win. Is it going to be you or them? Here, I should probably just pick up the Renegade spat, but you could go Shroud of Stillness as well. It doesn't really matter that much. Or like Guardbreaker, IE for Aphelios probably would have been good too. In that carousel, I was just way too indecisive when picking. Also here, like going level 9 does help us a bit because we get to run like a random Fiddlesticks, and that extra CC just really does help out a lot, and Battle Mage is really good for him. We ended up winning that last round. We're going to pick up this Urgot here. Urgot's great when you want to kind of win more. He's kind of like Bard from last set. He gives CC and it gives you like tons of more late game because he gives you gold drops or item drops. So I probably should play him over the Sejuani here if I'm a little bit greedy. I opt to not be greedy, so I keep the Sej in. But that's kind of like a personal choice. I probably should have played it because I'm ideally playing for first place in this game. This guy's got a Jax 3. Holy cow. But if our Sejuani goes off, it should CC him, and maybe we get some good resets, great resets on our Viego, and we somehow beat him. His Jax items aren't that great, so that's probably why we won. But I think we're top 4 already, right? Yeah, everyone else is low health, so we probably got second at least, and we're about to go level 9, so just buy this other Urgot and just power level up after this. The item choice we get here, it could be either Morello to put on Sejuani and drop Ace Soul hat, or Thieves Glove, because Thieves Glove is great on like a random legendary unit. Honestly, I don't really think it makes that much of a difference because we already have our primary guy itemed up. We just need to kind of find everyone else. So I'm doing something silly here. I'm just waiting to get the passive XP to level up. Don't do that. Just level up here and play Urgot. Obviously, like, we're playing in Iron right now, so I'm not like super tryharding. I'm just doing like really greedy stuff. And yeah, just if you need to get out of a certain elo, just like always play your hardest, you know. But if you're like playing on a Smurf account or like playing in a much weaker thing because you just haven't logged on to TFT yet, I guess you could play around a little bit, but if you're actually trying to climb, obviously just level up here and play Urgot. Urgot probably gives you the same amount of gold because when he casts, he has a chance to give you gold. So the 2 gold I saved here, I probably would have got back anyways, so it actually just was just a bad play. We got the fiddle here. We should roll here because we're at above 50 at level 9. Not too much other things we're saving for. We're just going to go for like the big units, like the big shiny units. Maybe we'll try to get a Viego 3. We do get the Aphelios, so we could drop him in. Middle gun's the stun gun. That one's going to be the best one in most cases, especially since he's not 2-starred. So if he's 2-starred, you could go ahead and choose like the damage guns or whatever with 3 items. But since Viego's my primary carry, I just don't need to do that. Only do a damage Aphelios if he is your primary carry. But in this game, he's just not, so it doesn't really matter. We could have had Fiddle 2 in if we rolled a little faster, but it's not the end of the world. Our Viego's going insane right now, just like turbo resets everywhere. He's got like full damage items with Battle Mage, and he's got Thrill the Hunt for healing, so he just has like jacked up augments this game. That's why he's going ham. So if your Viego doesn't quite go this ham, 1, my opponents are a little weak right now, but 2, I just have like so many things buffing him, like triple damage item plus Battle Mage. It's just a dream come true, We do get the Urgot too. I probably should be playing this. I don't know why I was waiting so long to play Urgot, because he's definitely the high roll champion. We get that. We get the Leona. Replace our Camille for that. Sell Camille. Probably take out Sejuani here, Acel. Why do I still have Acel in the game? Man, you guys got to tell me that I got this 1-star Acel. I could have played Urgot that whole time, All right, let's roll down a little more because we want to knock the guy out. Don't really get anything that enticing, but you know what? It's okay. So when there are a few seconds ticking down at the end of the round like that, you shouldn't be focused on rolling. You should actually just scout and see where to place your Urgot and Sejuani and Fiddlesticks mainly, because you want them to CC the enemy team. So our Sejuani ult goes off, but look, we didn't stun his Kaisa. And is that his main damage unit? I can't really tell, but we end up getting the win here, so pretty good there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let's get on into game number 2. Overall, in that last game, we kind of just won through win streaking and then kind of just hitting our units there. We get another Rod start here. We do have some of the Renegades. You don't have to play Renegades every game, but like if they give them to you, like sure, go for it. Another good start is going like 4 Duelists at the beginning of the game. If you don't get any of those, just do frontline, backline. What I mean by that is find some damage trait. Maybe it's Spellslinger, maybe it's Duelist, maybe there are a ton of them, right? And then pair it up with the defensive trait, such as Mascot, Defender, or Brawler. And then that's all you have to do. You just have to mix and match. And if you get some wacky bonus combos, such as maybe you're playing Star Guardian and Spellslinger and Defender, the extra Star Guardian trait you get is just like the gravy on top, Another good start is maybe like a Gadgeteen start, because Gadgeteens are a very strong early game synergy, but then they kind of fall off later because the bonus item in the early game is just super, 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 super strong. Cannot stress that enough. Also, in the early game, try to pick up as many units as you can. I should be buying everything in my shop. I might be waiting for interest here, but or I'm just like AFK. Okay, I do end up buying everything. Oh, I did not click the last one. Oh no. Level up, Heart, or Radiant Relics. So Heart Crown's good for forcing hearts. Also, Zizarot's insane in the early game. Level up if you're doing like late game strategies, and Radiant Relics is really good for win streaking. So if you have a 2-star already made before the augment round, Radiant Relics is a pretty decent choice because you just put the Radiant item on whoever you 2-star, and more often than not, they will win, unless someone gets like some crazy prismatic augment, such as like Cruel Pact, for example. But we're kind of just playing random stuff right now. I should be trying to level up again. I think I'm looking to see what to sell. Probably I should have sold the Silas and played the LeBlanc, actually. Poppy's like kind of weak, but I have it in for Defender. But I also should not put my Talon on the side like that, because he's my only damage unit, and I don't want him to get targeted first. We're also going to slam Ionic Spark because we want to... This guy got Cursed Crown, so he has also 5 units, but you really need to win streak if you level up aggressively, And I guess you don't need to, but it helps, It helps. And slamming items just gets you closer towards that goal. This guy might beat us because he's actually decently strong. Our item, we should have put it on Talon. I don't know why I did not put it on Talon because, again, remember last game, you generally want to put items on your 2-star units because they just get a much better effect from it. And we do end up losing here, so that's pretty bad. Unlucky that we faced the Cursed Crown guy because he kind of gets the same bonus as we do. So instead of cheesing out a win because we're just by default like higher or more units than them, he gets to kind of have like relatively the same strength there. This next guy, he's obviously really weak. He has wise spending, but he's got a lot of stuff on his bench. So wise spending is typically good if you're doing some sort of reroll comp. Reroll 3 cost because it gives you a lot of rolls at level 7 and level 8 because you pretty much never hit level 9 with wise spending. And 3 cost reroll just loves level 7 and level 8. So that's typically when you would pick that augment if you have like a leaning towards those types of comps. What was the other one we had? We had Heart Crown and we had Radiant Relics. Yeah, so Radiant Relics, it's mainly just good for loading up one specific carry. So if you have some type of comp that only cares about one unit, such as Mecha Prime, that's typically the comps that it favors. So I don't know if I was like AFK during the tactical round or whatever you want to call it, but I should have bought Rel and played it. Maybe even bought a Yuumi and played it. Maybe even bought the Yasuo and played it. So I think I was just AFK here. Maybe I was getting water or something like that. Because my little legend, I noticed, did not move during the entire stage, but I probably would have bought Rel, played it over Poppy. Because Rel's just like a stronger unit, right? Poppy is a 1-cost unit, Rel is a 2-cost unit, and they're both 1-starred. So on average, Rel's going to be a little bit better. What item do we want here? So we don't have anything right now. I probably want to lean a little bit into AP. The reason why is because I already have the Ionic Spark, so maybe getting like a Tear or Rod would be ideal here. So someone took the Rod, so I'll probably take the Tear. Could also go Bow. Bow builds a lot of decent items such as like Static Shiv, Zizirot Portal, and Giant Slayer. Every comp right now, Giant Slayer helps a lot. Whenever the meta is like reroll heavy or brawler heavy or like Mecha Prime heavy, Giant Slayer is just going to be the best item, right? By default. So we probably want to do some level ups here. Level up is a little weird because it gives you 3 bonus XP per level up. So you kind of have to calculate how many times you need to press F until you hit the next level. So you get 7 XP every time you buy XP instead of 4. So we're 14 experience off. So we could just level up twice here, which I should do. If I don't do it, it's just a mistake. I think I was just AFK during this round or something like that. It's just too obvious of a play not to level up. I don't know what to say. But again, since I'm playing on like a Smurf account, it's like I probably just wasn't thinking as hard as I normally should. But you should be level 6 here and you should piss people off. Like other people should be like, oh my God, why am I facing the level 6 guy? Because sometimes that's you. You know, you have to figure out which games it is and which games it's not. And in this case, it's very obviously supposed to be me because that's what level up's for, right? If you're not using it to level up, like, what are you doing, you know? I know I'm making, like, 1 gold of interest, but just guaranteeing, like, some sort of streak and kind of surprising the other prismatic win streakers is just, like, super, super, super high value. In this next shop, how do we upgrade our board? Vi gives us Aegis, so it's slightly better than Jax. Also, Jax kind of sucks without items. You could maybe play... Yeah, it's just AP from here. Like, Talia, MF, Hearts... who else is there? Viego. Those are typically the AP users this set. I think Aurelion Soul. There are a lot of them, but you want to lean or flex into one of those comps. And definitely a 4-cost carry because we have level up. So getting a 4-cost 2-star is going to be super easy for us this game. We could get some legendary 2-stars as well, and those are really strong with AP items too. Fiddlesticks, Mordekaiser, I think even like Leona to a certain extent. They can all use it, you know? There must be other ones that I'm missing. I think Janna doesn't really need AP, but she's like good with spell slingers, you know, so you'd play Talia with Janna to cap off your team. Do we lose against this guy? I think we do. So like not leveling up really, really punished us because I think we would have beat this guy if we had 1 more unit. So yeah, easy mistake there that we could just completely rectify in our next game. But not too much to worry about. We hit a Silas 2 here, so we'll probably just end up buying that. We did not hit the Camille, so no Renegade start for us. So you notice how last game I was talking so much about the Renegades. it's just kind of like a hard start to hit. So you don't like go for it every game. And you saw exactly how here because like we just simply did not get it, you know? We do get 2 tiers here, so I'm going to lean more into Hearts or Zoe. Hearts are really good with blue buff because the more they cast, the better they do. And there are a lot of blue buff item holders in the early game. You could use Lux, you could use Talon, you could use Lulu. There are probably like 10 other guys I'm missing. Yumi. There are a lot of people who could use it. This game we're going to use Talon, and he's not the best blue buff holder, you know, but like he's my 2-star, so I'm going to use him this game. A lot of people, again, they stress so much about like, oh, what's the best item for this unit, or what's the best unit for this item, and oftentimes that's going to be whatever you have 2-starred. You don't get, it's not a perfect world, you know. It's like, oh, I'm playing poker, right? Let me start pocket aces every game. Like that's not a thing, you know. Like, would you like to have that happen? Of course you would, but you can't just get that every time, you know. So you always have to maximize whatever you get. Let's see what's in our next shop here, and we get Think Fast. So Think Fast is really, really good if you know what you're doing. I don't recommend Think Fast if you're in, what elo is this? We're in the bronze game right now. So since I'm going AP, I don't really want the Oxforce one because it forces me into Viego, and Viego is horrible with blue buff. So we're just going to go Band of Thieves. Another thing I don't want to do, you could ask me like, oh, why didn't you re-roll your augment? Because you don't really like those prismatics, because Band of Thieves, it does something, right? But it's not like anything insane. The reason why you don't want to re-roll is because the champion augment round is so important, and I'd rather save my re-roll for that if I can afford it. So unless my 3 options are absolute trash, I'm not going to re-roll them if I haven't seen the champion augment yet, because, man, if it's like a legendary champion augment, you'll wish you had that re-roll to get like a really good one, or even the 4-cost ones. Imagine getting a chance to get the carry augment for your 4-cost unit. Like, it's just such a big power spike, right? Like, I don't think I need to explain myself there. You guys already know that. Like, no one's that dumb, right? Like, so you really just want to save your reroll for those rounds if you can help it. So if you get 3 trash options, like obviously reroll it. But since one of them was like semi-takeable, we just take it. So here we get a Misfortune. So Misfortune, not the best with blue buff. If it was any other tier item, such as Spear of Shojin or something like that, or just like any other AP item, like it'd be really good. But honestly, I think selling the talent to play Misfortune might have been a mistake. I think I should have just kept the talent in, because Misfortune just takes way too long to cast. We're going to adjust our board a little bit, though. We're just going to swap over the items to Lee Sin. Like, Thieves' Gloves, it's a little weird. You never really know who you want the items on. It's generally like random legendaries that you don't know you're going to upgrade yet. So if you have like a 1-star, let's say Fiddlesticks or Leona, for example, they could kind of use the tank items. They could kind of use the AP items. Obviously, the AD items aren't the best, but like, you know, that's the risk of running Thieves' Gloves. But like 2 out of the 3 scenarios are probably pretty good. And you don't know that you're going to get them 2-stars, so you don't want to commit real items to them. That's typically the best users of Thieves' Gloves. So it's always like a awkward situation. Some good units to use it on are like maybe Vi, because she could kind of use all the stuff, and she's like not that important, and she's 2-starred because, again, you want items on 2-starred units. And she's not like a primary carry, so it's kind of nice to put it on her. It's kind of tricky. It changes in every comp. It's going to change based on like what augments you have, what units you're hitting, as with everything in TFT. But if you're just like wondering who to put Thieves' Gloves on, just like do it to some secondary carry or tertiary carry. That's generally who, or like a tank. That's generally who the best targets are. We see another Misfortune in our shop here. I'm pretty sure it's just a bait. We're not actually going for Misfortune. She's just kind of there to just hold us until later on. I think I should actually play the Sona over the Misfortune here. So if I don't sell this Misfortune and play Sona, I'm just trolling. Turns out I was trolling because I kept the Misfortune in. So that's another mistake there. Again, it's okay to make mistakes. You just have to, that's why we do the VOD reviews, you know. It's to find out like what we've been doing wrong. And blue buff is just insane on Sona, right? She has what, 40 mana, so you reduce it down to 30. So she just casts every 3 autos. It's absolutely nuts. And like, yeah, her effects are just really good. You could stabilize your board really, really hard with like Sona 2, LeBlanc 2, Zoe 2 in the mid game during stage 4. And when you do that, you don't have to roll for your late game carry. So obviously with blue buff, if I had to pick the best user of it, it might be like Soraka, you know, because Soraka's 4 costs, she's heart, she has low mana pool. So getting her to cast a lot is really, really nice, right? But you don't always get 2-star 4 costs during your 4-1 roll down. You know, that rarely happens. So if you're doing your 4-1 roll down, you hit a Sona 2, you hit a LeBlanc 2, just put the blue buff on them. They'll carry you through stage 4 in a lot of cases. I'm not saying it's going to happen in every case, but generally, if it's like a normal lobby, no one's turbo high rolling or anything like that, it's going to be perfectly fine. So again, you need to just recognize when that's the case. Cho'Gath just completely destroyed my misfortune because Shiorei takes so long to cast her spell, and then getting Mana Reave just really dampened my fight here, or dampened my day because I lost this fight. So it's okay. We get knocked out here, or not knocked out. We take a loss here, and we'll probably sell the Poppy to make 50 gold. You'll notice that we have like a ton of gold this game. That's because we didn't really need to roll. And you'll find this a lot when you're playing at like, okay, so huge shop here. So yeah, probably Sona in for MF. Maybe play the Talia. Blue buff is actually really good on Talia because she casts early. And you know how sometimes Talia one taps your backline? Well, if that is the case, I'm not saying it always happens, but with 6 Spellslinger, it happens pretty often, right? And with like 2 other damage items. If that does happen, like you just want her to cast as fast as possible, and blue buff is the best item for that. So I should be picking up the Talia here, but I'm just not for some reason. Tons of items, holy cow. So we have the pick of the litter here. Yeah, we could probably level up because we have level up. Okay, weird saying that out loud. Syndra's there, Nunu's there, probably good stuff to put in. We probably want a jeweled gauntlet in terms of items. We could also go Thieves' Gloves. We could do like a ZZ Rot portal. Oh, I forgot. On Nunu, Morella Namakan and Sunfire Cape are so good. So we opted for that instead. We see the 2 Viegos, a little unfortunate, but we grab an extra Syndra. We didn't get to finish our roll down, which is a little unfortunate. Also, I don't know why I sold Echo. I should have kept him. But maybe we just slam another Thieves' Gloves here and just have like triple Thieves. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it kind of is what it is, you know? What else are we going to do with like gloves, you know? Like I guess Jeweled Gauntlet Shroud would be pretty good, but I feel like getting the value earlier is like slightly better. But maybe we're playing for first place this game because we're in like lower elo, so I'm not going to play for like a top 4, you know? But if I was playing on my main account, I'd probably slam Thieves' Gloves here. Let's see what we get. So this is why we saved the reroll. I don't really like any of these. So we're going to go ahead and click that button. And we get... these are so bad. It's okay. It's okay. So a trick people do to avoid this situation I'm in where like the augments aren't the best is they purposely change their board on 4-1 or 3-1 so that they only play traits that they care about. And that way you could like manipulate your champion augment. They said they're going to patch this in the future, so do it while you can. I'll try to let you guys know if they change it or not. Oh, wow. Gain mana every 12 seconds, 5 seconds. I forgot what it said. That is very good admin for us because we're playing hearts, right? Or playing AP. But yeah, they said they're probably going to change it. That's why I haven't made like a dedicated video on that. Because if they do change it, it's kind of like a waste of time, right? So hopefully just telling you guys here just to abuse it while you can for manipulating hero augments. And I think when I played this game, like people didn't really know that tech before, so it's a little bit of a different times, you know? Also, like I'm playing on a Smurf account. I'm not going to be super sweating my augments every round. There's just no point to, right? We're going to do a couple roll downs here because it is early in 4-3. We're not like the healthiest. Remember last game, I think we were at like 80 health at this point or like maybe 70. We're at 47 now, so it's a little bit more dangerous. We really need like a 2-star carry, like either Sona 2, LeBlanc 2, like literally anything. But unfortunately, I put my blue buff on Soraka already. So what I should have done was when I leveled up to 8, I should have rolled to 0 and just like gotten all this stuff. And I should like sell something to get this Sejuani, but man, there's just not much to sell on my board. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, just TG or Thieves' Glove the Sejuani. And that should be pretty good. Because again, like all the tank items really help her, and if she gets like a utility item, that'd be pretty sweet as well. This Bel'Veth, holy cow, underground spat. Can't say I've seen too many of those. How did he even get it? I don't know. Because I'm looking at his augments. Normally you get that from an augment, right? Also, lock your shop. In case you guys didn't know, you could click the bottom right lock button to lock your shop, and that way it doesn't refresh. And it's good if you hit something when you have no gold at the end of a round. On this carousel, we need some damage items, so going for like a rod would have been ideal. I guess we just grab the tier and maybe build another mana item. Let's buy this Sejuani that we were waiting for before. And yeah, roll a couple more times because like we have 4 pairs on our bench right now. So it's like whenever you have like 3 or more pairs, you generally want to roll a little bit. If you have like 5 pairs, 100% roll. If you have 4 pairs, like definitely roll. If you have 3 pairs, like it's debatable. It depends on your life total and such, and what comp you're playing. But if you have pairs, generally you want to roll. A lot of times people ask me like, oh, like I watch this guy, he just hits all the time. Like I don't know how he does it. That's why he's high rank and I'm low rank, because when I press my refresh key, like I never hit anything and he just gets lucky. The reason why that it may seem like that is because the high level players, they roll with a purpose. They're not rolling just because they're like, oh, it's stage 4-1. The guide says to roll at 4-1. They're not doing that like blindly, right? They're doing it with a purpose. So they generally do it when they have like pairs of stuff they could hit. So whenever you see someone say like, screw it, roll it once, and then they hit like 1 or 2 things, it's because they're rolling when they have a lot of pairs. It's not because they got lucky, you know? Like, of course, there's still some luck involved. It's TFT at the end of the day, but like, if you do this over 100 games better than someone else, like you're going to be hitting a lot more than them. No real interesting things in our shop here, so we'll just skip to the next fight. We're 47 life right now. It's not the most comfortable. Oh, it's the wise spending guy we were talking about before. He does not have his Jax 3 yet. That is so unfortunate for him. Fortunate for us, because our Nunu is just going to Morello everyone down. So on Nunu, you might be wondering what the best items are for him. So Sunfire or Morello, one or the other, not both. And then 2 tank items would be the best thing. Redemption, maybe like a Dragon Claw. Things with like regeneration is good. Maybe a Warmog, since you generally run Mascot with Nunu. So Warmogs gives him a lot of health. Mascot heals based on a % of your max health. So those are 2 really good options a couple good options for him. We get the Sona here. We could buy her. And then let's see what item we get. Buy the Echo here. We did get the Soraka. I guess it's a Giant Slayer, you know, or you could Titans your Nunu. It's not the best, but if you want to just like troll a Nunu carry, it's great. But like Giant Slayer, perfectly fine item. We get ability power from the Chalice of Power. We also get ability power from Hearts. So not having like a dedicated AP item on Soraka is not the end of the world, because she gets ability power from other sources. You generally don't want to stack too much of one stat. There are exceptions to the rule, of course, but if you get AP from a certain source, you don't need to get like more AP from a different source. Like I wouldn't build Rabadon's Death Cap on Soraka, like almost ever. I'd rather have Jeweled Gauntlet, because Jeweled Gauntlet gives AP, but it also gives a critical strike effect, which amplifies her existing AP from the heart trait. Or maybe that's why we build Blue Buff, because not only does it give us more cast and gives us more heart stacks, but it also just gives her more cast in order to take advantage of the extra ability power that she has. Same with Giant Slayer or Shield Breaker. They're just more damage amplifications that really makes the extra AP on her shine. So we get our Lee Sin 2 finally. He's not that important. He's just giving Heart and Brawler. He's like kind of like, what are they called? Trait bots? Yeah, that's what people generally call them. It just means that they are used purely for their trait and nothing more. All right, we're facing off a guy with Malphite 3. Oh, it's the Cursed Crown guy. Do we win this fight? I think we do. Like, we have Nunu, which just like, it's pretty good against his team because he has a lot of 3-stars. And we have a Giant Slayer against a 3-star. We just have a lot of like max health damage, or like, sorry, bonus damage against high health targets that it just really helps out a lot. We should try to level up to level 9 soon, so we have to think about when to do that. So one trick is to see how much how much gold you need to level up with, is hover over the buy XP button. I'm not going to do it here because it's a replay. I can't like force myself to do it in hindsight. It'll show you how much gold you need to spend. So even with level up, it'll show you the proper amount. Oh, I do it, 36 gold. And yeah, it just really helps with the math calculation. So you do 41 minus 36. We'll have 7 gold to roll down with. Probably not enough, so maybe we wait a round or two. It's always super important to plan around when you're going to level up. There are a couple of resources in TFT. Obviously, one of them's gold, one of them's your items, but another one is time. People don't talk about the time part of this game. And the reason why it's important is because there's only a limited amount of things you could do each turn. So when you plan your future turns ahead, you're going to save yourself a lot of time on that future turn when you need to do like a big roll down, for example. And again, time's not a resource that people talk about that much because it's not like a sexy thing to talk about. You know, it's like, oh, like I have 30 seconds each. No one cares about that. But every time you're looking at a fight, for example, there are a ton of things you could do to help you win the game. One of them is scouting. So you can look at other people's boards to see if you're contested. You can look at other people's boards to see how strong they are. For example, if someone has like really good augments, he just hits some random upgraded units, and you're like, hey, like, do I want to contest this guy in future rounds or just like accept the loss and just power up, maybe beat him like next stage or something like that? There's always something you can be doing in TFT. Another thing you could do is, again, we talked about this before, is predicting who would win the fight. And look at the fight interactions. Like, which direction does my Nunu walk towards? And if he walked a different direction, how would that change the fight? My Sejuani's ulting in this direction. Is that the best place to ult against a specific guy? And the next time when you're scouting against him, you know where to put your Sejuani. And do this a couple times every game. Like, I'm not saying do this every single round because it takes a lot of time to get used to that. And also, sometimes we don't have enough time to do the scouting stuff. But you do it once, you do it twice, you do it a couple more times, it'll soon become second nature to you, and you'll have like a huge advantage over your opponents. It's a little sweaty, so obviously only do this if you're like really trying to grind up really high. But I know a lot of people who watch these videos, they ask me like, oh, now that I know how to get from Iron to Diamond, how do I get to Masters? How do I get to Grandmasters? How do I get to Challenger? It's like starting these habits when you're at lower ratings. One, it makes it easier to pick up because like you'll be doing it for longer. Two, you'll see like the advantages it actually gives you, and it's pretty big, you know. It adds up a lot over time. Also, a lot of these things you can't just learn overnight, you know. It takes a lot of time to get used to, and then the more you do it, like the better it'll be. Obviously, the fundamentals of TFT, which is knowing when to roll, when to level, and which units to buy, that is a lot more important than all the scouting stuff that I'm talking about. So it's not going to make or break your game, you know? But if you want to start building little advantages over time, that's the way to do that. We ended up winning this game. I didn't really talk too much about this, but hopefully you got some good tips there. This next game is going to be a little similar, and that's because I didn't talk too much about the actual game from last game. I was sort of doing more general tips here, but this is going to be the silver game. We're going to be doing some sort of blue buff oriented build again, and I'm really going to show you guys how to abuse the augment called Luden's Echo. And that's the one where whenever you cast a spell that deals damage, you deal like a nice little pop of AoE damage as well, and that's just from the Luden's Echo procs. In this shop here, we already get the Gangplank 2 and Blitzcrank, and a lot of people are wondering like, oh, who should hold my blue buff in the early game? Obviously, if you had to pick a champion out of the hat that could carry blue buff, it'd probably be like Lulu or Yuumi. But there are a lot of other champions that could do it as well. We saw Talon in a previous game. We're going to be seeing using Gangplank here. Gangplank, very good user of it. It's one of his better items in his regular build as well if you do like a carry Gangplank. But we get Ace, Built Different, and Ludens. Since we have the blue, it's kind of a no-brainer to do the Ludens. If you don't have like these specific items, you could do something like Built Different. Built Different is very good for getting top 4s. It's pretty much automatic top 4 as long as you don't get super unlucky. It's hard to win games with Built Different, but you typically just win streak during stage 2 and then snowball from there. This game we have a lot of upgraded units, so we're definitely playing for win streak, and we already knew that because we hit the upgrades pretty early, so we want to take a win streak augment in this selection round. So if you took Built Different, like that probably you would have done fine as well and build like a static Shiv. But doing something like blue buff Luden's Echo is also a no-brainer because they just complement each other so well. We're honestly going to skip a lot of this early game because you guys can already imagine we're going to be winning a lot of these rounds even though we don't have any traits active. Another important thing that you can be doing is always checking the admin trait as early as you can because that lets you make some decisions. You're like, oh, should I go for a Soraka game? Should I do a LeBlanc game? Is it a Camille game? So you check the admin. You have to have 2 admins active to do that. And then you can see here, like, if we wanted to do Camille, you take the attack damage one. If you want to do Soraka, you do a mana or ability power one. If you don't really have any of those choices, you do one of the max health ones, and you could just kind of play around with that there. We're going to end up playing the LeBlanc here because it's better than Ashe. Ashe doesn't really do anything. And let's say you didn't have a 2-star Gangplank. LeBlanc could be a decent holder of the blue buff as well if you really are itching for that. But we're facing someone with full 1-star, so obviously we're going to win this fight. A lot of you guys may be wondering, like, how do you get... Oh, Sona's another good blue buff holder too, but pretty obvious there. She's a heart. Some people may be wondering, like, oh, what do I do when I don't get the 2-stars? Or like, hey, whenever I watch someone play, they always have a bunch of 2-starred units. Well, the way people get these is because they hold on to a lot of units in the early game shops. A lot of people, they sell everything to make interest. And when you do that, you don't hold what's called pairs. Pairs are 2 copies of a unit. And when you don't have a lot of pairs, you can't expect yourself to have that many 2-starred units because you have to hit 3 in a row. It's really hard to do that. It's like a tic-tac-toe or something like that. So when you're holding a lot of pairs, you increase the chances of getting a bunch of 2-star units. The one downside is a lot of 2-stars don't have a lot of synergies together, like we have in this situation here where we had, before this, we were just running 1 civilian with like 3 upgraded units, but we swapped the team a bit, so we have some admin, we have some spell slinger, so it's not 0 synergy anymore, but we had to sacrifice some of the 2-starred units for 1-star such as LeBlanc and Sona. Luckily, LeBlanc and Sona are 3-cost units, so it's a bit more, it's not like that big of a drop in power, even though it still is a drop. So we had a bow, so one of the extra items here, it's probably just going to be this belt because the only other option was 2 Negatron cloaks, and Negatron isn't necessarily bad, but belt's just a better generic tank item if you need to build that. Worst case, we build a ZZ-Rot portal. This is an interesting decision point. So looking back, I think we should complete the Sona 2-star. You can't really build any good items with the belt, but you could just use it to item hold because there's just no reason not to just play a 2-star Sona right now and just continue win streaking. So it's definitely a mistake by me here, selling the Sona and not upgrading it. It's kind of silly there. But it's probably not going to make like that much of a difference. It definitely does hurt, but I mean, if I wasn't win streaking, I think not building it would be fine. But since I am win streaking, it's like obvious to just complete the unit there. Not sure what I was thinking, but yeah, mistakes happen. You know, his Rammus got the best stun I've ever seen. He hit like 4 out of 5 of my units. We still win the round because he's level 4 and we're level 5. And yeah, but it's just a big surprise there. There's not too much to do in this shop. You could throw in a threat over the other Sona. You could play Hearts. Probably Cho'Gath over the Lulu is the best thing to play here. For some reason, I value having Heart over just like a really jacked up Cho'Gath, but you know, it is what it is. Mistakes happen. This person has a lot of upgrades. He's got Lee Sin 2, Silas 2, Poppy 2. Not many synergies on his team, and he also doesn't have a damage dealer, so he needs to mix and match the damage units a little bit with his tank unit. So maybe he should have played Nasus or the Vayne on his bench just to add a little more umph to his team because like he just doesn't deal any damage, so it's going to be hard for him to kill one unit. Whenever you're doing like a lose streak, and we're going to see some of those lose streak games maybe in a future video, it's super important to at least try to kill 1 or 2 units whenever you lose streak. So you play 5 rounds in stage 2, and imagine you kill 1 extra unit every single round in stage 2 because you knew which units are good at playing in lose streak. You'd save yourself 10 health. So 10 health, that could be like a small loss in the late game that you have extra. And it's just like a nice insurance policy that you could have had if you just played the early game better. So early game, super important. Lose streaking and killing 1 unit, also super important. In order to accomplish that, you try to pick the single target damage dealers. You try to maybe group people on one side of the board. So, for example, Gangplank's pretty good at killing some extra units. Poppy would be horrible. Talon would be horrible as well because Talon jumps to the backline. Poppy hits the backline as well. If you play them together, it's fine, but if you play them individually, it's hard for them to kind of kill stuff. We're also going to slam the Static Shiv here because we're still playing for win streak. Probably going to level up too because there's another person also win streaking, so we're probably going to end up facing him. So we'll just wait till the last second to try to level up. Always scout their board to see if you could even beat them if you level up. He's got true 2s, I believe, and he's got a bunch of guys there. I don't know why I did not level up here. Definitely big mistake from me here. I should have leveled up, played Cho'Gath because he deals mainly magic damage, and Cho'Gath is a great magic resistance tank. So another mistake by me here, because if I ended up facing him, I definitely would have wanted the level up. We still should win this round, luckily, so it's not like the worst thing in the world, but like I don't want to rely on luck to win games if I can help it. And this was one of those cases where I should have leveled up. And would we have won? Maybe with the Cho'Gath we could have. Wow, this person lost. And he didn't level up either. So we definitely could have surprised him and had one extra unit in. Especially Cho'Gath is a magic resistance tank. And he just doesn't have, or he does all magic damage. So this is an interesting augment round. It's probably predatory precision. I'm not going to reroll Yuumi because I don't have many copies of her. But I could just play it just because it's a Yuumi, you know? I could have rerolled the augment maybe, but... yeah, I don't think I needed to force reroll Yuumi from here. I will note that on some patches, some reroll comps are so dominant that you could force them no matter what. Unfortunately, I believe this game was played on the patch where Yuumi wasn't completely OP, but that's perfectly fine too, right? That's actually better then, because if it's just a reroll Yuumi game, it wouldn't really be playing or showing like a good learning experience, you know, because you just reroll for the unit. Also, this isn't a good time to reroll for Yuumi either because we put a bunch of points in leveling up. We don't have any of the one-cost mascots, or sorry, we only have Galio. We don't have any Nasus's. We don't have any of the supers. We don't have, what's his name? Malphite's the most important one. We only have like one copy of Lee Sin. We don't have any Gangplank, so it's just not worth rerolling for Yuumi here. Just like keep playing for win streak, use Yuumi as an item holder. You're never forced to play her as like a carry. You could always use her as a support unit, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're just going to add in 4 hearts because with the blue buff, it's just really strong. It's debatable if we should have kept the blue buff on our Sona. So we have our Static Shiv. It's definitely dealing a lot of work for us because we have Luden's Echo, so Static Shiv reduces magic resistance, and when our whole team is proccing the Luden's Echo and we have a blue buff just like activating it so often too, it just gives such a big boost of damage that it's... You guys see these fights, right? Like we're not even watching our own fight because we already know we're going to win. Wait, this fight's kind of close. Oh no, wait, we actually... Why did I say that at this time? Dude, the Draven got the most epic like axe throw or whatever it is. Anyone do axe throwing? It's apparently a popular thing to do right now, but I've never done it. Let me know down in the comments if you think it's fun or not and if I should do it. But, okay, so he got an epic axe and it completely messed up our win streak. Whatever, it's okay. We'll live and we learn. I think we want to get another tank item here or get like a rod, but there's no rod here. So spatula could be good too because hearts, you could build heart spatula or you could build something like mascot or ox force. There are a couple of different options you could do with the spatula. We also get a Sona too, and we'll probably just level up anyways. Whenever you could level up and keep around 30 gold, it's generally worth to do. So we're in that same exact situation here, so we're going to do that. We don't need to roll because we're at 95 health. If you look on the right-hand side, you could see the health totals of everyone. If we were like 54 or like 48 health or something like that, then yeah, maybe you might want to roll if you have like a full 1-star board. But we've been win streaking. Even if we lose the next like 5 rounds, doesn't really matter. Doesn't affect us that much. So we're pretty content with just leveling, get better leveling odds, or sorry, get better shop odds, and then go from there. What elo are we in? We're in the silver game, I believe. So by the time you're silver, you probably should know that shop odds, whenever you level up, you get higher cost units. And it's nice just to level up a little bit earlier just to randomly get a couple more draws. Because obviously, the more hands you see in poker, like the higher odds you have of getting like nice cards, right? I guess that's not the best analogy. But in TFT, there are shops, and the more rolls you get at higher level shops, for example, we saw the Sejuani here. You don't have to play the Sejuani, but it's just like a nice 4-cost unit to play. It could have been like a Soraka, which is exactly what this comp wants since we're kind of going for like a heart build. The person we're facing here is playing... He has a Brawler Crest, but he has like Yuumi Augment. I'm not really too sure what's going on. A lot of people have this Yuumi Predatory Precision Augment. That's insane. I guess because it's good. I actually, now that I mention it, I forget what patch this game was played on. Is it the one where Yuumi is good or the one where she's bad? In case you aren't that caught up with TFT news, There's one patch where she was the worst unit in the game, and then they changed her mana total by 10 mana, and then she became the best unit in the game. We get a nice Lulu upgrade there. We're going to get some sweet drops from this wolf camp. We get another spatula, and we get a rod and a bow. So obviously we're going to build Force of Nature. And then here we get a nice Zoe. So Zoe, we could have saved the spatula to get like Heart Crest or Heart Emblem. And Heart Emblem on blue buff Zoe is the best thing ever because hearts, they gain ability power whenever they cast a spell, and Zoe casts so often. She actually goes like monkey mode insane and gives your whole team so much AP. We're facing someone who's probably going like maybe spell slingers, but he also has a duelist spatula. I'm not too sure what's going on there because she has the anti-augment, but a duelist spat. That's a very odd combination. I guess you could do duelist Kaisa with the Nyla and then play Star Guardian for your spell slingers or something like that. It's a little bit trying to do too much with what you have. So maybe that's like a common mistake people make at this rating. It's just kind of trying to fit too many things on your board at one time. Try to just focus on one or two things at a time. Either an attack damage based comp or like a ability power focus comp, or just like focus on one or two traits. Don't try to like spread out too much like what that person was doing there. You can do it once you get more experience, but if you're in silver, you need to just work more on the core fundamentals. It's like in figure skating. You need to learn how to skate first before you do like, what are they called? Like triple axles or something like that. I don't know what they're called, but like the jumpy tricks. You need to learn how to just skate first. And that's essentially what we're doing at this rating. We're trying to learn how to skate. And then once we learn that, we could do some of the cool tricks afterwards. This person's going for a Fiora build. Fiora, pretty solid unit in like a reroll duelist build or just any duelist build in general, because she's just like a decent tank that you could run and then have like either Vayne or Zed carry, or sometimes Yasuo if you're doing Yasuo reroll. So when do you guys want to go to level 8? We could have done it on 4-2. We're probably going to end up doing it on 4-5. I believe if we did it on 4-2, we'd have around like 20 gold. It could have been done, but we're at such high health, we're probably not trying to do like a level 9 this game. Another important thing to do is know how to cap out your team. So sometimes you have to do it at level 8. That's like the most typical. Some teams, they do it at level 7. Like the reroll Kaisa build right now with threats, you just stay level 7 and roll there forever. That's like your home, you know, like level 7 is all you ever know, and you don't need to explore any further. Some comps, they really cap out at level 6, like a Yuumi reroll. You get 3-star Yuumi, 3-star Malphite, 3-star Galio at level 6, and then you do level up after that, but it's more for fun because you just have nothing better to do. But then other times you're playing flex, you need to try to see and go level 9 and then play a bunch of legendary units, because it's just like a default decently strong board. It's not like the strongest thing in the world, but it's more than enough to hopefully at least get second or third if you go level 9 with like a lot of gold, or ideally a first. And you typically get first unless someone turbo high rolls with like a very finely tuned composition. But here we should definitely level up. I believe we're about to do that now. We have around 40 gold. You could roll here. We're running, let's see, we have 2-star Yuumi, 2-star Sona, 2-star Lulu. We have 4 1-stars on our board right now, but the only thing we could realistically get as an upgrade is a Soraka, but a Soraka 2 specifically. We might get like a random Fiddlesticks. We might get a random Urgot that we could play if we roll down. So you could roll down to maybe like 30 and just play an extra Urgot, get the gold back from his loot orbs, but you don't have to do it because you're not guaranteed to hit. We're probably winning maybe half these rounds. We're probably going to go 1-1 and 4-6 and 4-7, or sorry, 4-5 and 4-6. Just because our team isn't that strong, we're probably going to face someone with like a 2-star forecast who should theoretically beat us, but we managed to win this one. This guy hasn't capped out yet. You could see on his bench he has a lot of units that are just like waiting to be used, and once he does hit those upgrades, he's definitely going to be a threat to be recognized. Not too many interesting things in the shop. You could play Acel, you could play Zed. I could like Rageblade Static Shiv my Zed, and then that way he just does a lot of Static Shiv procs. Maybe run a Nyla or something, and then just have the blue buffs going on like my heart units just to really pump everyone up. You don't like have to do that. It's like pretty extra / optional. The main holders of Rageblade Static Shiv in the super late game in this comp, it's probably going to be something like Syndra, just to give her more mana regeneration so she could throw more units on the board. There's not really too much else to do here. We're able to win this round. Was this the Draven guy that ruined our win streak before? It might be. So we get a nice little revenge kill there, which is always pretty sweet. There's not too much in this dragon shop, so we're just going to go level 9. For our items, we have a glove, Negatron, and belt, and then we get a couple more things from the armory here. We might need some damage items. We don't have like a dedicated damage item, but like the only damage item there was a sword, so you could build Infinity Edge, which isn't really that great in an AP comp. We end up just building super tank items. We go Dragon Claw, and then we build the Guard Breaker. Guard Breaker probably should have went on my Yuumi. I don't know why I put it on Cho'Gath. I'm going to be very honest with you. Maybe I wanted to use Cho'Gath as an item holder until I get something like a Mordekaiser or a Fiddlesticks, things just like any legendary. What's her name? Leona is probably pretty good too. So he's probably just holding the items for them there. But I should keep the Cho'Gath because there are a lot of players in this game that are playing ability power. So one thing about set 8 that's different from past sets is that there are a lot of counter units. Echo counters Sejuani, Cho'Gath counters AP, Rammus counters AD. Zac is really good against single target champions such as Jax and Yuumi. A lot of small like soft counters that you could kind of tech in, and you need to know which units do what and also know to play them in your game. And this game, I feel like I should keep the Cho'Gath. So I should either find a new Cho'Gath before I replace him or just put items on someone else so that I could sell that unit once I get the legendary unit that I want later on. We're facing someone with Viego too, so people are getting a little stronger. I think we're still going to beat this guy because, again, we have so much magic resistance. We have Dragon Claw. We have, like, Cho'Gath. And maybe he does beat us? No, I don't think so. Like, his Viego would have had to have insane targeting, but it's actually getting kind of close. Maybe he does beat us. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be close. His Viego just stayed at 1 health the entire game. Holy cow. Okay, never mind. We did lose, so that's a little awkward. We're going to buy the Zac here most likely. We probably want to play him over someone else because we're still running like 1-star Lee Sin, 1-star Alistar. If I don't end up at least buying the Zac to hold on to, something weird is going on. And I did end up not buying him, so I really wonder what was going through my mind at this time. But we're facing someone with reroll Lux. Again, it's another ability power person, so we should win because we have so much anti-ability power. We don't have Aegis yet. We will probably play that eventually because we do have the Alistar. We just haven't rolled much, so we haven't seen many of the units. Okay, that was a weird Cho'Gath ultimate. It just stayed in one place. But we knocked this guy out, so that's pretty good. What place are we in right now? We're at a top 5 already. Everyone else is at super low health. So another great thing about having like win streak starts, especially in like lower ratings, is that a lot of people are just going to bleed out. And it doesn't matter if you're not the strongest player because all the strong players will eventually have to face each other and then they'll have to knock each other out. Also, I should take Heart Emblem here. I don't know why I'm going for Sunfire Cape or take the Shroud, either or. Maybe I wanted to force Nunu because I have this mascot emblem, and then Sunfire is, of course, really, really good on Nunu, as we saw in previous games. So we should roll a little bit. Our team's looking like a little weak. I don't want to have to lose 20 health around, you know. We do find the Soraka that's pretty good. Zoe, kind of optional, but sure, we'll buy her. There's the Fiddle. There's a Sejuani if we want it. And then nothing too juicy here. We skipped past 2 Aphelioses. I should probably play this Echo somehow. But we'll just throw the items, I guess, on Soraka. I should probably get rid of Yuumi. I don't know why I still have her. Yeah, I have the augment for her, but like Soraka with blue buff at 2-star is probably just going to be better. So maybe once I get Soraka 2, I'll swap the item over. But the Rage Blade's a little awkward. You really want those static shivs and Rage Blades on your Syndra. But maybe we don't hit Syndra this game. The thing about legendary units is that you're not guaranteed to hit them. Also, here you could probably sell this extra Yuumi for the Echo. I think I'm saving this extra Yuumi just in case I sell my original Yuumi so that I could still keep the traits that she gives. As we get a Leona there. I don't know why I'm skipping Echo. And then there is Nunu. Sell Lee Sin, sell half my team, try to fit this guy in. Okay, so we're going to have the most jacked Nunu ever. He's going to have Declaw, he's going to have Warmogs, and he's going to have Sunfire Cape. And then we could finally put the Shield Breaker probably on Raka. It's not the best item on her, but, you know, sometimes that's the item you have. It's like you have to you have to make the best of what you're dealt. And that would be one of those cases. I do end up dropping the Galio. I want to play 6 mascots. Is it possible to play 6 mascots? We need like Malphite or Nasus or something. I guess that'd be kind of hard. You don't want to run those units late in the game if they're not like itemized or built around. But if it's just a buff Nunu, maybe it's good enough because Nunu will just get so much healing with the Warmogs because Warmogs gives him a lot of max health. And then, of course, mascots heal based on your max health. And then he also has a declaw ticking. So look at this Nunu. He tanks so much here. He did a lot of work just now. And it might not show up on the stat sheet. He got second place in damage, but he was healing up and tanking a lot. So we also get another Nunu there. I think we should keep the Sejuani. What am I doing? I sold the... Listen, this is why you do VOD reviews. Like you're doing, I guarantee you guys, you're doing something in your game that's like really weird. It could be something small. It could be something big. It could be something that happens every single round. Something's going on in your games that could be improved upon. I don't care what level you are. You could be the rank 1 player. I'd tell you the same exact thing and I would be correct. There's something you're doing wrong in every single game. And that's why you see that like a lot of high level players, super high level players, better than you or me can ever become. They're very critical of their own play. And that's just something I don't see at like medium levels. I'd say low levels and high level players act the same because they both think that they could do a lot better. It's the medium level players that often think that they're the best players in the world. I don't know why that's the case, but in every activity in my entire life, that has been true, at least to like most extents, you know? Obviously, there are exceptions, yada, yada. But yeah, a lot of the top players, they're very critical of themselves. And that's why they do video reviews as well. They don't just play 50 games in a row and expect to climb that way. They play a couple games and then they think about it. They're like, what should I have done in that situation? Or maybe they do it right after their game sometimes if it really bothered them that game. And they just analyze their play like this and they're like, holy cow, I made this stupid mistake. Hopefully I won't repeat it again. The difference between like the very good players and the best players is that they don't repeat the same mistakes. And again, that's true for every activity that you do in your life, right? But holy cow, that Nunu literally bulldozed those people over. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's always something you're doing wrong. That's why I kind of like making these videos because, yeah, it helps you guys because you get to see someone's thought process on the game. But it also helps myself because I notice, even though I'm probably not trying my hardest in this game, there's still like a ton of mistakes that I'm making, and hopefully I don't make them when I play on like my main account, for example. This is an awkward situation. I do want these items on my Syndra, but I also want Soraka too. So do I keep this Soraka or do I like sell it and then move the items over to Syndra? Because Syndra could pull in like my fiddlesticks and stuff. I think I'm going to give up on the 6 mascot dream. It's just not that important. You know, I'd rather just run better units. There are a lot of balance and checks in this game, such as like whether you want to play a higher trait or whether you want to play like a higher cost unit. And both of them have their advantages. It depends what you're hitting in your game and what you need. So if you need more healing on your Nunu, let's say Nunu was your actual like solo tank, no one else does anything on your team, then yeah, go for 6 mascot. But since I have other people kind of doing stuff too, I don't need to go all in on my Nunu. So that's kind of how you decide whether you want to play more for traits, like a vertical trait, or more for just solid units. But we get a nice dub there. Let's move on into the next game. For this next game, I have in my notes, it says flex game bad. I forgot what I meant when I wrote that, but we're going to find out what bad thing happened. We also have a Nico start, so if you want to know how to play when you have a champion duplicator on your bench from the first neutral rounds, we'll hopefully try to use that optimally here, or at least discuss what to do whenever you get this. So first things first, whenever you get that, it means you got that in lieu of gold most of the time, and that just means you're going to be a bit poorer in games where you have a champion duplicator, but nothing to fear there because obviously it saves you gold if you use it to complete something, because what do we use gold for? We use it for rolling down and leveling up. So when you roll down, you're looking for champions, and champion duplicator gives you a specific champion. So it saves you a ton of time, hopefully. But let's take a look at the augment choices here. First aid kit, Jeweled Lotus, Knife's Edge. So I opt for the Jeweled Lotus because we have a lot of ability power items. You typically don't want to do Knife's Edge whenever you're going for AP comps. And then first aid kit, we don't really know how much shielding we're going to have. On Annie, it's pretty good. Viego, if he has healing, it's pretty good too. So if you do like some sort of renegades, it's decent. But until you know a bit more about your comp, I typically try not to go for first aid kit. Like obviously mascots make great use of it too. There are a couple other comps that and champions that use it pretty well. But if I'm going just like flex AP, I'm just going to take the Jeweled Lotus for sure. I did end up leveling up here. May have been a mistake. We don't have any upgrades, so I probably just should have played for like a lose streak start here, but I don't know, just like kind of monkey play for me. So in these cases, just stay level 3, get some upgrades, and then after that, go for your regular stuff after that. If you have upgrades, that's typically when I like to level up, but somehow we beat this guy. I really thought we were weaker than him. Wait, did we beat him yet? I won't speak too early, because every time I have so far in this video, I've been wrong. And then, of course, the time where I don't speak early, we actually do just win anyway. So good win there. We'll pick up the gangplank. Now we see in our next shop, we have 2 Annies and also a Lulu, so we could play the Gadgetines. Gadgetine is an extremely good start. I'm just going to drop the Ionic Spark on my Annie, put the Lulu in. Let's see what items we get. Warmogs? Nope, not Warmogs. Warmogs is the best one. You just automatically win around whenever you get it. What can we play here instead of Vi? Maybe we just keep it as is. I guess double Annie isn't so bad either. Annie is probably a better tank than Vi, just because Vi does, she's more of like a damage unit, mix of tank and damage, and Annie's more dedicated tank, so I think that's why she might be a little bit better, since we just really need a tank for our front line. We don't need like both damage and tankiness, I don't think. We do end up losing this round. Not the best Gadgetine item. We had a Giant Slayer when we had no 2-stars, so it makes a lot of sense that we do lose this, but that's okay. You also could have put the Rod on your Lulu, but it's not going to make that much of a difference here. Now in our next shop, we see an Annie and 2 Poppies, so now we can start the streak going. So that's what I mean before. Like, you just need to not level up early if you don't have upgrades yet, because now we are going to win everything, but since we made the mistake of leveling up before, we were still losing around because, like, no upgrades, and that just means it's like a minor mistake that could cost you like 1 or 2 gold in the early game, which could end up being a lot. We got Shroud from the item here. We'll just drop it on our Annie, makes her a little more tanky. Just try to hit as many units as you can. Obviously, you can't always get the perfect hit because some units spawn in a little late right before the fight starts, but it's all good. We have the 2-star Annie. The 2-star Poppy died, but this Annie should be able to tank a bit for our Lulu to hopefully get some kills here. If not, it's not the end of the world. A lot of things also depend on Jeweled Gauntlet procs. Sometimes you crit, sometimes you don't when you don't need to, and that really dictates a lot of the fights early. So I've noticed that Jeweled Gauntlet, IE, and Jeweled Lotus, they make it so that win streaking's a little inconsistent. On the carousel here, we have a Rod, so we already have the Jeweled Lotus, so we could build something like a Rabadon's Death Cap, just because we already have the crit built. But the whole debate of like, oh, like crit builds are risky in win streaks, that doesn't mean never build the crit item if you're trying to win streak. It just makes it a little less consistent than like a pure damage item. But it does conversely mean that it's great for lose streaking, because sometimes you just crit and get an extra kill that you didn't deserve. We'll just slam the hat, maybe on LeBlanc. Probably Lulu's better, actually. I should put it on Lulu. I don't know why I'm hesitating here. It's a mistake, but I guess we win the round anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. But if we were facing someone strong and we needed to keep our streak, I'd definitely put it on the Lulu, like in hindsight at least. We see a new shop here. Not too many things that are interesting. We probably want to make interest by selling the GP and Talon and winning the next round. We get Shojin, so we could definitely stack our Lulu now with that item. Shojin is from the Gadgetine. All right, I don't know what is wrong with my brain in this game, but I am making so many bad plays. Like, the Shojin clearly belongs on the Lulu. Lulu is 2-starred, LeBlanc is 1-starred. Which unit is going to deal more damage? It's going to be the Lulu. I guess LeBlanc has Spell Slinger, so you get a slight edge there from that, but I still think it's Lulu. Also with Lulu, you should put her on the second row, not the back row. Nothing too much in this shop here, so we'll skip ahead. And we get a ton of stuff from this Krugs. Look at all the items. We got a bow double sword. Good thing we did not build Rabadons, because we might need to use the rods to kill some of these swords or something. Maybe like a Hextech Gunblade wouldn't be so bad. You could even Rage Blade, but we need to build something. It's definitely Giant Slayer. So maybe Hat Giant Slayer and then keep the sword for something extra. So we'll just stack it all on Lulu. I finally regained my senses and put it on her instead of LeBlanc. We don't really need anything in the shop. We're probably going to go for maybe a Talia game. This game would be pretty good. But literally any Spell Slinger we could stabilize with maybe like a Sona, a LeBlanc. Maybe we could go Hearts again if our Hearts desire, you know. But we played a couple of other Hearts games. I believe this one is a little different. We don't just do the blue buff abusing. Are we able to win this round? Oh my God, you're trolling me right now. Our Lulu just barely didn't go off. We also haven't used our champion duplicator yet. I typically like using it on 4 costs or legendaries depending on our health, and we're pretty healthy right now. These augment choices, Fiora, Sleepy Time, or Burning Spirit. It might be Burning Spirit. The Zoe one's pretty good too, but I don't know if I'm playing Zoe. You could play Zoe with the Gadgetines. I actually elect to reroll. I think that's actually a mistake. I feel like those were good enough to take. So, yeah, I don't know what I was looking for, but in hindsight, I would have just taken probably the Zoe one's the best. Just replace Poppy and play her over some of the Gadgetines. I actually clicked the Vel'Koz one. I don't know why. This is the one where he chills people for a bit, so he wants people to relax. I don't think it's that great. I guess it's not horrible, but I don't know why I picked it. It definitely, I guess out of those next 3 choices, it probably was the better one, because the Annie one isn't that great. But man, my first choices were like infinitely better. So re-rolling was for sure a mistake. And we're able, just because they're takeable. Whenever you have something takeable, you should just take it, because greeting for stuff, it's just really risky. It's an unnecessary risk, I should say. We get a donkey nut shop over here. We get LeBlanc 2 out of nowhere. So we want to look to switch our items over to LeBlanc. So this extra Giant Slayer definitely goes on her. Once we see a new Lulu or a Zoe, we'll replace her and put the items on LeBlanc. This is definitely like a pretty solid game so far. We probably shouldn't place anything lower than 4th, just because we don't need to roll much at level 7. Normally when you play Spell Slingers, you want to like stabilize with like a Talia 1, LeBlanc 2, or Sona 2. Sometimes Yuumi 2 works as well. I believe this game was on the Yuumi patch, which is really annoying. Our Vel'Koz is doing a decent amount of work though. So maybe this sword, we turn it into a Spear of Shojin for our Vel'Koz, since we're probably keeping him most of the game. So for the items here, there's a tier right in front of us. We'll just go ahead and grab that, and we are good to go. This shop here, not too much interesting to look at, so we'll just go to the next round. So we're facing a Mecha Prime Jax. He's only 1 star, so that's good news for us. We should be able to win this. He does have a QSS, which is really good against Vel'Koz because it just makes his ability useless. But we have a Giant Slayer, so we're not too worried about killing this guy. By the way, Oxforce on Annie is one of the best synergies ever, because she almost gets a free shield every time when she's low health, and that just means she gets a lot more HP than other people. Dare I say, she might be the strongest 2-star, 2-cost champion we've ever seen, like the tankiest one. Because I don't remember any 2-star, 2-cost champ as tanky as this. There's some 3-star, 2-cost champs that are tankier than her, and Annie 3-star I feel like is a bit redundant. But her 2-star tankiness, just because of Oxforce, is just one of the strongest at that stat level that I've ever seen. Or sorry, at that cost level. This person's playing MF. We should be having a decent matchup against him. Actually, no, our Vel'Koz feeds MF mana, but his Vel'Koz augment really delays Miss Fortune's ultimate. Like, it's already like 10 seconds into the fight. She hasn't ulted yet. She ults at 12 seconds in. Holy cow. So that's with Vel'Koz feeding her mana. So if Vel'Koz did not feed her mana, that would have been even better. So you guys, if you don't know how mana works, check out my 100 tips and tricks videos, and I'll try to leave a card here. I talk about how mana works in one of those tips, so definitely check that out in your spare time. Essentially, when you take damage, you get mana. We just get gold from this wolf camp, so we don't really have to change too much. We have to think about when we want to use this Nico. Would you guys use it on a 4-cost, on a level 7 roll down, or would you wait till level 8, maybe on a 4-cost, or maybe just save it for a legendary? We're at 87 life right now, so we could take it a little slow. We don't really have to roll here. We have the 2-star LeBlanc, but we do want a replacement Lulu, because you don't want to run Lulu this late in the game right now. Admin, I guess the ability power one's okay, or the mana one. Mana one's better for team buffs. If we're doing like carry LeBlanc, then obviously the AP one on admins is pretty good. But yeah, I think I should have rolled down here. There are a lot of different things I could have hit. I could have played maybe 4 Spellslinger and then moved the items to LeBlanc. I could have just hit a Talia 1. I could have hit a Zoe and then swapped the items over too. I just shouldn't have this Lulu in this late in the game. Because, I mean, she just falls off, right? She's a 1-cost unit. It kind of makes sense. Let's take a look at these augments. Battle Mage exiles Bandit Thieves. Might be a band, yeah. It's hard to exile when you have mages in the backline. It's hard to separate them. The other one, Battle Mage, better in the early game, in my opinion. If you run Viego, it's obviously good. We could have gone Viego this game. We have perfect items for him, but it's hard to like pivot into that when we don't have many of the renegades. So we'll just stay like this. And then, yeah, the Band of Thieves, it's useful because we could just put it on a lot of random units that we're probably going to play. This comp right now, we're definitely going high levels because we're decently stable. We have this LeBlanc that's just doing nothing, so just Thieves Gloves her, and then put the Lulu items on our main carry. If our Camille was 2-star, I'd prefer to put the Thieves on her, but she's 1-star. Same with our Alistair. Maybe we could have put it on Poppy. Maybe Poppy could have used the Thieves Gloves the best, but yeah, because LeBlanc, you either get attack damage items, ability power items, or tank items. LeBlanc really only uses the ability power items, so it's not not that great on her. Whereas Poppy, she could use the tank items. The AP ones are okay. AD ones, like pretty bad, but like it's better than AD on LeBlanc. I mean, hitting the bad option is bad on everyone, right? But like Poppy can like use kind of the AP and definitely the tank. Oh, we get an amazing LeBlanc Thieves Gloves here that we get Chalice of Harmony for our backline. That's pretty much perfect. We upgraded our team a little bit. Maybe we could do something with Zed plus AP carry. It used to be pretty viable before the duelist build was kind of discovered, but yeah, you could still flex into it if that's what the game gives you, because we can't just go duelist from this point because we don't have the augments to do it and we don't have the items to do it. But if we play Zed maybe with like a Giant Slayer, Edge of Night, and then have the Vel'Koz still, and then have a primary AP carry, maybe like a Talia, you could do like the Star Guardian Zed build, which is, I believe, just like a very horizontal comp where you don't go deep into any trait. We are our last pick on this carousel. We probably want that tier Talia, but someone else takes it. So we'll just take the chain, maybe build some tank items. We have enough rods already. We built a hat, so we don't really need that rod on the Syndra. We also built Ionic Spark, so we pretty much exhausted all our rod items. I guess we could build a Hex Stack Gunblade. That'd be about it. Interesting thing to note here is that I did not level up to level 8. So we have 63 gold. It costs 48 to level up. So if we level up, we'd have around like 15 gold left. So yeah, not leveling up makes a little bit of sense here. You generally want to level up and keep 30 gold, either to roll with or just to have in your bank. And having 15 is a little bit too little. Unless I have like a very critical unit to put in, it's not worth it. But look at my bench. I got pretty much nothing there, so there isn't such thing as a critical unit to put in right now. We take a L there, so we're at 65 now. We're still in first place, though. Now on our next turn, we're at 73 health. We see the Sona here. We'll probably just pick her up. Wait, I don't pick her up? Why am I not picking up Sona? I'm going AP. Okay, I am just turbo griefing this game. So whatever placement I get, I pretty much deserve it. That's probably why I put gold flex bad game in this. Probably because I played terribly and I wanted to review it or something like that. Because holy cow. I'm making so many mistakes. But again, it's fine. I'm not going to explain why again. But this MF, very good items on her. Jeweled Gauntlet, Shojin, Giant Slayer. That's pretty much how you want to build your MF in most cases. You really need to fix MF's mana. It takes way too long for her to cast right now. That's why she isn't seen that much in the meta. We get Camille 2, not bad. We get a tier rod and then the anvil. Let's see what we can make. Archangels is an option. We also have this chain vest still, so we could go for gargoyles. We could go for Protector's Vow. There are a lot of different things we could have gone for there. I think Protector's Vow would have been the best option, so an extra tier would have been good. But I go for the Stone Plate. So if I do this, I should solo frontline my Annie, but I believe I don't. We're facing this Jax guy. Holy cow. That guy's very big, and he's also, again, the counter to our Vel'Koz because he's got QS. Look, our Vel'Koz is just wasting his casts on the Jax. That's a little unfortunate, but hopefully this Giant Slayer Lulu's able to kill. It's stage 5-1. I'm still running Lulu. Okay, I needed to level up and roll here. I can see I'm waiting until 5-2 to do it. And even though I'm 49 life, it's not that high, you know. If I lost this round, I would have been at like maybe potentially 30 life, and then that'd be danger zone. So I definitely should have leveled up and rolled down on 5-1, not on 5-2. So no matter what I hit here, no matter what crazy thing happens, it's still a mistake. So I don't know why I'm not picking up Zoe. Putting Echo in's pretty good. Keep going, keep going. Sejuani, Zac. Definitely should pick up the Zac. We got a lot of stuff to replace. We have Poppy, Lulu, Camille to replace. Sell the Viego. Okay, I sold the Zoe. That's fine. Keep rolling. I don't need this extra Vel'Koz. Looks like I'm trying to do the Zed comp, but that was a pretty terrible roll down, not going to lie. I have 20 more gold to roll, and I didn't upgrade my team. I changed one unit. I believe I put an Echo for some random thing. That is a horrible roll down. I did not achieve my goal of replacing the Lulu, and I definitely could have. Definitely could have, especially if I rolled faster or just played like Zoe in for her, swap the items over onto someone else, and then rinse, repeat the roll down the next turn anyways. Like, this Lulu's just got to go. It's way too late for her. So we take an extra... We were at 49. We're at 31 now. So we took like 20 damage pretty much for nothing. 18 damage, however you want to count it. There's Raka, Fiddlesticks. Keep going. I could have had Zoe too by now. I sell the Raka. Very interesting. I should sell these Zeds. I don't know why I'm holding on to these Zeds or valuing it so much. There's finally the Talia. So I probably want to do something with the Talia. It's probably TGZ or something. And finally I sell that guy. Okay, please put Talia in or something. I guess Mordekaiser could use these items. I'm not running Hacker though with my Zed. The Zoe would give me so much stuff. Zoe gives me Gadgetine, Hacker, and Prankster. So all three of her traits, but I'm not running those. Instead, I have nothing on my board because I'm still running Poppy and Camille. What am I doing with my team? Holy cow. Okay, now I know why this game is marked down as Gold Flex Bad, because I'm taking 10 turns to pivot my board when I'm playing Flex. And when you do that, you're just not allowed to do that because I lost so much health. I lost 20 last round. I got lucky on 5-1. 5-1 winning that round is luck. Losing 5-2, 18 life. Losing this one, 12 life. So I'm down around like, how much is that? Like 30 life when it could have been even more. I could potentially be at like 5 life right now. So that's really, really bad. Okay, so for this carousel, either TG, Shroud, Hat, Blue Buff, all good options. I go for the TG. I could probably drop that on like Alistair or something, or just one random legendary that I get. All right, it's our 4th turn or 3rd turn of trying to pivot our board. Let's see if we could do it now. We're going to roll down to 0. Come on. I still had Poppy in. Holy cow. Annie isn't horrible to have in still, but like Poppy, Camille, there's just no reason for them. Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. Don't need him. Okay, finally, Fiddle 2. I should sell the Mordekaiser, drop all the items on Fiddle. Let's see if I do that. Probably Zoe over Asol. Please sell the Mordekaiser, drop the items onto Fiddle. Please. Okay, I don't care about my 2-star Fiddle. All right. Don't TG the Fiddle. Oh my god. It's Ionic Fiddle. It's just Ionic Fiddle. It's like one of his best items. I'm just turbo griefing. Okay, the Mordekaiser did do work, but Fiddle would have done the same exact thing. All right. At least we went around, but look at this, guys. Like, so many mistakes. Obviously, time pressure is a thing. But man, like, maybe I don't get punished for it in this game that badly, but if I'm playing in against better players, which I do want to do, and I hope you guys want to do that as well, like, you're not going to be able to get away with these mistakes. So do keep that in mind whenever you're playing. I know a lot of people have been requesting games where like they aren't played like perfectly or something, or like maybe you don't get that lucky or something like that. I guess this is one of those examples where it's like so much went wrong from like a player perspective, where you just are clicking the wrong units, you're putting the items on the wrong stuff. It's like you're not doing a lot of little things that you could improve on, and just like looking back at the game really helps you see it in future games. Because obviously when you're in game, even though you made a mistake and repeat that mistake throughout the game, it's because you just didn't see it during the game, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like how life works, you know? It's like, but once you take a step back and look at it and you're like, wow, that actually happened for that long, and you see how much health it costs you throughout the game. So we end up losing here. That's probably another, we're at 19, we're at 9 health now, so that's 10 health just gone like that. And then we're on our last life right now. So from the item anvil, we have Giant Slayer. Okay, it's probably Giant Slayer. In the late game, Giant Slayer is just the best item, right? Because everyone has high health. We could take the Redemption because we have some tanks that need tank items. But since we have so many carries, I feel like it's the Giant Slayer. I guess we TG'd all our carries, but okay. Are you serious? My champion duplicator's still on my bench. Holy cow. Holy cow. All right. We need to use that somehow, someday now. I forget how much gold you lose when you get a champion duplicator, like, because there are trade-offs, right? But you do lose out on gold. And that just means I was probably down like maybe like 5 gold the entire game in the early game, which is a lot more than 5 gold because you get interest, right? So I'm probably down like 20, 30, maybe even like 40 gold from that champion duplicator. Remember when we wanted to level up to level 8 on stage 4 or 5, but if we did it, we'd only have like 10 gold left. Normally, when you do that level up, you have around like 30, even 40 gold. So that literally means we were probably down like 20 to 30 gold this game, which is obviously a very big difference, right? So we lose. We can complain about facing Yumis all we want because we lost to a Yumi player. But at the end of the day, we lost because we made a boatload of mistakes there. So hopefully you guys were able to learn from this too. Let's move on into the next game. The Platinum game was a little spicy. So spoiler alert and cringe alert, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be going Yumi. But we're going to be a contested Yumi. And I promise you the ending will not disappoint you. All my OnlyFans subscribers have seen the clip, but you guys will get to see it now, don't you worry. But a lot of people tell me, like, how do I go for these S-tier comps when they're super contested? What am I supposed to do? What if I'm not hitting? What if they're hitting? We'll figure that out in this game right here. I do believe we do hit the Yumi 3 this game before the other guy, but there are going to be other games in the future that I'll cover where you'll play a game and you're going to not hit and they hit instead. I'm going to do this with Jax in the future, so subscribe below if you have not already, because I've had a lot of Jax games where I'm stuck Jax 2 and I still do pretty well. I believe I released one of those games on the channel recently, but we get a great Heart start, or Heart Mascot Super start. What am I doing? I sold the Lee Sin. It's okay, it's okay. Interest is good too, but I should sell the Rel by the Nasus. I don't know what I'm doing, but here it's for sure just preparation, reroll Yumi. We have 2 rods, so one is Ionic Spark, one is Jeweled Gauntlet, and if we get Predatory Precision, then we're going to go ahead and turn that rod into a hat or Archangel, something of that nature. But preparation, one of the best reroll augments. It's going to hurt a bit early because in the early game, you just take the pain until you get the stacks. But after you get the stacks, it's going to be chilling. There are 2 ways to play with preparation. The first, and my favorite way, is to play rerolls with them. Another way to play it is to treat preparation kind of like built different. You just flex and hold stuff on your bench and then play them as you 2-star them. Or you play with pairs, one on the board, one on your bench, and then you don't roll until a certain point. But I prefer the reroll method. It's a lot easier, but a lot of high-level players, they swear by preparation as being the best flex augment. And I haven't quite figured it out yet, so I'm not going to tell you guys what I don't know. What I do know is that it's very good for reroll because you just have a lot of stuff on your bench. But obviously both work. Always stick to your own playstyle because last set, I believe, there's this one player who tried to tell me, like, always take preparation. And I took the LP tax when I did it because I was learning how he was doing it. And yeah, every time I took preparation, I'd get bot 4 and it would suck. It would suck. But I did finally get it at the end of last set. And like I got a little bit of LP whenever I took preparation. But there's always an LP tax, and just because someone else does really well with something doesn't mean you will. Because I was playing Astrals at the time, and he was like, I don't know how you are winning with Astrals at all. And then I show him one of my Astral games, and he's just like, holy cow. Like, but he doesn't do Astrals. I don't do preparation. And it's perfectly fine. You know, everyone has their own play styles. Everyone likes certain comps or different comps. And that's perfectly okay. So everyone's good at different things. So just because someone says something's good doesn't mean you have to copy it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't copy it, but it doesn't mean you have to copy it. In life, you make choices. And those choices, there are either consequences, results, whatever you want to call them. They could be good or bad. And that's just one of the things with me and preparation. I just don't get along with it unless I'm playing reroll. So this game we're playing reroll, so we're chilling. I'm just going to grab stacks on the guys I care about, which is the Yumi, the Lulu, and the Galio. And then we're going to hope we hit them soon. Because I hate paying the reroll HP tax and being like 30 HP or even 20 HP by the end of stage 3. And I'm not even close to 3-starring my guy. I forgot exactly what happened this game. I just remember that the ending's funny. And this one person got really, really mad at me because I was playing Yumi. But we'll go ahead and see how he reacts. So we're able to kill off this GP here. We actually don't want to win this round. Winning this round is a huge grief to our whole game plan because we wanted to lose streak. I guess that's another reason why this game is going to be a great learning example. There are so many games where you just perfect lose streak and you just have infinitely more gold than in those games where you go like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, or you get your lose streak or win streak interrupted at the very end. By the way, we pick up tier here because that's the most important item for Yuumi. I did do a quick scout, and we saw that we are like a little bit contested. Nothing too much to worry about, but since we have a good reroll augment, it's fine to contest. What I don't understand is some people force a comp no matter what. They could have like, I've been contested Yuumi when someone's had Knife's Edge, which obviously doesn't do anything for her. Those people, you just end up winning out against all the time because they're just much weaker. So even if they hit the 3-star and you don't, you're still going to do fine because you have good augments. Don't just blindly force something like those players. I'll try to point examples of that out in my gameplay whenever I see it, and I'll let you guys know, and then we'll see how they do. They normally don't do that well. There are going to be some times where they do, but like if I were a betting man, I would bet against them, you know? We pick up the supers here. Gangplank is the least important unit to 3-star, but you still pick him up just in case it happens, and you still need him 2-star, which I need here. But in the early game, you want to focus on Galio, Nasus, and if you're doing Lulu, you could reroll for Lulu as well. But then after that, you go for the 2-stars or the 2-cost units in Yuumi, Malphite, and Lee Sin. So we get the Lee Sin here. We get another Galio. So we're more or less chilling. I could sell my front line right now and swap my team in, but yeah, I think we should do that now to make interest. Because we want to make 40 gold. Gold is the most important resource whenever you're rerolling. And yeah, I should just sell this Talon here. Maybe Talon can get me a kill. It's a little hard to say. I should put the Rod on the Talon though, because I'm going to sell him. Talon does give me Ox Force, but you don't want to be too strong. Yeah, this guy's got blue buff Jeweled Gauntlet with blue battery, so he's actually going to be pretty decent with Yuumi if he does decide to go for it. So this game's going to be a little tricky. We get a nice kill on that Ashe there, and we take a 4-unit loss. Unfortunate. So we're not the highest health, not the lowest. I've been lower, but remember, we did not get a perfect win streak. We are on 2 loss, win, 2 loss. Again, obviously you want a 5-streak loss, but not everything's perfect. So we should try to make 50 gold here. We also want to beat this. Do we beat this if we play all the 2-star or all the 1-star guys? I don't think so. I might have to level up here, if anything, or just keep the Talon in. With Talon in, I think we could win. It ends up being kind of a close fight. We get a belt. Oh no. Yeah, I need to put a belt on Galio or something. Like, these guys just need to live. I should drop that on him. Because Yuumi is horrible at killing these guys because she is single target and she hits random stuff because she changes her targeting sometimes. And it just makes it, yeah, like, I don't know if we would have won without slamming the belt, but I don't want to find out. Belt goes on Galio anyway, so it's perfectly fine. So there are a couple of different strategies here. I've seen some people nowadays, they roll on stage 3-1 at level 4 to around like 30 gold. Or even like 40 gold. Just like a little bit to get 2-star Galio and 2-star Nasus. And sometimes they even do it to get multiple copies of them so that eventually when you level up to level 6, you could still hit them pretty easily. It's a bit of a personal choice on whether you do that or not. I do it a lot whenever I do Lulu reroll, but on Yuumi, I don't like it as much because I do want to hit like Malphite and Yuumi, and those are 2-cost units, and it's a bit harder to do that. Slamming that hat here, big mistake. I don't think I should have done that. I should have just held on to the item and not build it yet just to see what the augment is next round. Because if I don't have predatory precision, I would want Jeweled Gauntlet over the hat. So I don't think I should have done that. What I should have done instead was maybe slam a Spear of Shojin. Spear of Shojin, pretty good on Yuumi. If you look at the stats and compare the 2 items, you may think that like, oh, it has to be blue buff, right? And obviously blue buff is better. If I got to pick my item out of a hat, I would pick blue buff every single time. But we don't get to do that. And sometimes we need a slam just to get units. So here is very important. We saw garbage and we saw all 2-cost options. So if we re-roll it again, there's a very high chance we get a Yuumi one. We get a Malphite one, which is fine. What a lot of people do nowadays is they tailor their augments to the augment round. So on stage 3-1, they grief the round and only have like mascots active, for example, in order to force a Yuumi augment. I didn't do it this game because like I'm not sweating on my Smurf account, but that's a thing that people typically do in order to get the Yuumi augment. But the Malphite one is pretty solid. It's rock solid, I would say. And yeah, we'll just play that instead. Move Yuumi up a square. On the 3rd row, that's typically where she's best at. I should also play this Malphite. I guess I'm getting preparation stacks on him, but I could play one and keep preparation stacks on the other one, so I don't know why I'm keeping both of them on my bench. That's kind of a mistake. But again, there's this other Yuumi player contesting us. It is what it is. You can't always expect to have like a free Yuumi game. But definitely Spirit Shojin Slam here is very important because we're low health. If we were like 80 health, 90 health, I would say, okay, you're allowed to greed for a blue buff. But since we're at 63 health and we only have 1-star Yuumi, we need to just slam that item. Like, we're running way too low, and killing 1 or 2 more units because we built a suboptimal item, well worth the price. There's a Malphite too. I should complete it. Drop it in over Nasus. Where'd my other Nasus go? Did I sell my other Nasus? I must have. Sometimes I play Alistair over Nasus if I don't get Nasus 3-star, but the thing is, I'm still going to be rolling. So I don't know why I sold the extra Nasus that I had. So I think that's a bit of a mistake for me. Sometimes when people are contested, they just power level up and speed level instead of rolling for their 3-star units. They just get them to 2-star and then like skip. Sometimes you can get away with it, but sometimes like you don't scale hard enough and you just have to pivot out entirely instead of just playing that comp plus random extra units. There's no set rule on which way is best to do it. It really is going to depend on your game. It just comes with experience from playing the comp a lot. So that's why like there are a lot of comp specialists that really just force one comp that really know the ins and outs of those. But if you are a flex player, since you're only going for a comp if you get a good start for it, you don't need to know all those ins and outs. Obviously, it helps if you do, but it's not required, you know? So let's get this tier here because we want the blue buff. We greeded for it. Unfortunately, it's on a 1-cost unit, so we don't get much gold. So not the best, but at least we got the item. All right, so here we're just going to keep slow rolling, roll down to 50 every single turn. It's good that we have one reroll game in this compilation. I probably will do a only reroll video similar to this, so do keep an eye out for that. But we're just going to roll down to 50. We do get the Galio. We're actually missing so many Yuumis. We're stuck 1-star. Very unfortunate. Towards the end of the round, since there's not too much to think about in this comp, you should be scouting and see what sides other people's carries are on. Just look at the swords on the right-hand side before the round ends. Or sorry, before the round starts, and then like position your Yuumi on that side. So we're on the right side against Kaisa. We'll hit her eventually. And yeah, we're just slowly whittling them down. Tank line is more important in Yuumi comp than most people expect. A lot of people are like, oh, I have 3-star Yuumi, but I have 2-star Galio, 2-star Malphite. Like, why is my team dying? It's because the mascots, you need at least one of them 3-starred to really unlock the team composition. But we're going to keep rolling. Some people just skip to level 6 to roll for Yuumi, but I like rolling on level 5 a bit because Galio 3-star is like one of the best things ever. He is so cheap and he just tanks a boatload. So yeah. Also, I should play Alistair over this Nasus. I don't know why I have Nasus in right now because Nasus is not upgraded. All right, this guy's playing Ashe. We're on the right side again. Oh yeah, a lot of times people ask me like, hey, I hit the board that you show me on the meta snapshot. How come I got bottom 4 with it? A lot of those instances, it really depends when you hit your comp because sometimes you hit it really late and you only have 10 HP and then you hit this super high roll guy who's playing some wacky late game stuff that he got really lucky on and you're like, oh, you just lose one round and then you're out of the game. So that's one way those are explained. Another way is positioning. So when people DM me, they're like, why did I lose? I don't know what your positioning is, man. So positioning is super important in TFT. And a lot of times you just have to know how to position and that ends up helping you win a lot of fights. And it's really tough to say how to do it without looking at the exact game because there are a lot of different tricks that happen. So again, what I recommend is predicting who will win each fight based on the positioning, and also looking to see how each unit interacts. Like, Sejuani versus Echo is a classic matchup this set. Sejuani just gets completely destroyed by Echo because Echo jumps past Sej, aggroes her, and then let's do the roll downs here. We just are looking for supers and Yuumi, so we're just going to roll down to 50. And pretty much she just gets her ult shot backwards into your team instead of at the enemy team. And that causes, that has huge implications on a fight, right? Like, you're not going to get the best fight if your main CC unit is just not hitting anyone. So that's one way that you could beat people with stronger boards, which is just with superior positioning. So with Yuumi, it's very important to pick the right side. Sometimes you have to second row her, sometimes you have to backline her. The default positioning is third row because that typically hits the carries in the corners eventually if you're on the right side, but sometimes you play her directly in the center if people are kind of dodging those squares. And if you're against someone who doesn't have any backline carries, sometimes you put Yuumi in the back so that she could hit the front line. So there are a lot of different tricks you could kind of do. If they play sort of in the middle back trying to dodge your Yuumi, that's when you go on second row. There are too many tricks. You're just going to have to scout around a bunch and try to see where they are and pick the best spot first. So it's clearly blue battery here. This is one of the best augments I could have ripped, and I am extremely happy. I'm like pretty much like half mast after that, maybe full mast. Let's get these upgrades. We're pretty far from Yuumi. See what I mean? Like a lot of games on stage 4-2, you have like 6 or 7 copies of Yuumi, and then you decide to roll it down all in, right? And I can't do that this game. You know, we're just stuck on Yuumi too, but luckily she's very strong on this particular patch. Also, the other Yuumi player has the Yuumi augment, so that gives him an extra copy, and it's like decent for his units as well. So we're in a bit of a pickle right now, I'm not going to lie. Also, no Galio 3 yet. Normally, Galio 3 would be already done at this time. Luckily, we have this champion duplicator on our bench, so we hope to use that to really accelerate our team into the late game. But we're against this Kai'Sa right now. Static Shiv, Jeweled Gauntlet. Static Shiv is the best item on Kai'Sa by far. A lot of people think it's Rage Blade, but it's really not. It's just Static Shiv because it's just the highest damage item for her. I don't know what else to say. It's just like 1 + 1 = 2, right? I can't explain why. It just is. Static Shiv is just the best item on her. But we take a loss there. We're at 31. It's a little bit of a scary situation right now, but hopefully we find a Galio 3 and that'll help us stabilize. So you need to find a time to all in, and that probably is now because we're 31 life. That's typically when you have 2 lives left or 2 losses left, and that's when you want to be like, all right, I need to find my team ASAP. We're getting a bit of trash rolls here because we're getting a lot of champions that we want, but we have 2 full of a bench. I should be selling the extra Nasus copy that I have, but I must just not be seeing it on my bench right now because Nasus is the least important. But it's really unfortunate that I rolled past like so many units that I want to use and then I hit and the round already started. So that is one of the worst, unluckiest roll downs I've ever seen. But it happens, and I want you guys to see that because I want to show you that it's not the end of the world when that happens. Yes, it's unlucky. Yes, you'd prefer that not happening, but the world isn't all like happy and dandy, you know? It's like bad things are going to happen. Hopefully, it's only bad in your TFT games and the rest of your life is going pretty well. That would be the ideal scenario. But stuff like that does happen, and we're going to have to just deal with it, you know? Sometimes you need to know which items to sell. So we ended up selling the units that were furthest away from 3-starring. But yeah, let's look for items here. So we're full on Yuumi items, so we want to get a tank item. We also have this extra sword. This extra sword is going to be garbage for us. So I think we just go for maybe a Negatron cloak or a rod in order to get Ionic Spark. I think that's one of the best items for Galio because Ionic Spark really helps Yuumi kills tanks. Also, in the last roll down, we really wanted to roll down to 0 just to get Galio 3. So we could have potentially lost the round we just played just because we didn't spike fast enough because I'm a boomer at rolling. We do get the Malphite. That is huge. You generally want to stack items on only 1 champion. So we're probably still going to itemize Galio, but if I were able to get an item remover, I would probably put all the items on Malphite just because he's a better tank because he's a bit more expensive. We're going to do, I guess, 5 mascot right now. It's not going to make that much of a difference. We need Gangplank to put in supers, but I sold my Gangplank to make room for everyone else. So this guy, he did not hit the tanks. I think it's because he leveled up a bit earlier than us because we rolled on 5 for quite a long time. And I think he went directly to 6. Someone correct me if I'm wrong if you want to look back in the replay. But maybe that's why we were able to hit. Maybe we managed our econ a little bit better in the early game and we had more gold to roll down with. Or maybe we just got a little bit more lucky. But he does have the Yuumi augment, so that does help him a lot if he does manage to hit. Because I think he's got 3, 6, 7 copies of Yuumi. We only have 4, so he just hasn't hit yet. But at least we're able to get the tanks. The tanks are the really important parts. So there's a Lee Sin. We'll just kind of chill here a bit. We sold some units up to 20 gold, but it is debatable to roll down to 0 here just to play a Gangplank 1, because Gangplank gives us supers, and we have, I believe, 2 3-stars. So, no, 3 3-stars. So that would give us 20% from supers plus 5% per 3-star. That is 35% more damage. That's quite a bit, you know? So running a Gangplank 1 adds a lot to our comp. So I probably should have rolled down to 0 for a Gangplank here, but for some reason I did not. That might be a rank difference in terms of me getting away with it, because if you're facing better players, you just need a stronger team, and maybe you don't get punished for it at your current rating, but if you plan to climb higher, you definitely will. Let's take a look at our final items. All offensive, so I guess it's Ionic Spark plus a Giant Slayer. You could Giant Slayer Nasus. Sometimes you do Gangplank or Nasus if Gangplank's 3-starred, but since we don't have Gangplank 3-starred, we'll just do Nasus. We need to roll down for this. Please. Oh my god, I skipped Gangplank. What am I doing with my life? Keep rolling. Find a new Gangplank, please. I think that was just a mistake, because normally when you do a roll down with a reroll comp and you need to hurry, you just click the units that have the shine on them. But since Gangplank, we don't own a Gangplank, he's not going to be shiny. And that's why we can't see him. So a little unlucky there. Why do I put it on Raka? Put it on put it on Nasus. What am I doing? I'm actually trolling right now. Okay, the other Yuumi guy, he's still trying to hit. He's really close though, but no Yuumis for us. We're stuck Yuumi too, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. You know, we're actually in 3rd place in terms of HP. That is crazy. We definitely should be lower. I think it's because the Galio really stabilized us, but the fact that we don't have supers in is really disturbing. All right, this next shop, I would roll it down to 0 since I'm looking back in hindsight, but I don't think I do. Essentially, because I don't have Gangplank, I'm just down 30% damage, and I mean, that's just a lot, you know? There's not much to say about it. It's just a lot, so I'm just griefing. It would not have mattered this fight because he Vel'Koz'd me. And yeah, we just default lose to this person, I'm pretty sure. His Vel'Koz just kills our Yuumi right as the fight starts. Wait a minute. Do we actually win this one? Okay, I'm just speaking out of my butthole, because apparently we win that even though our Yuumi gets sniped right away. Wow, that's crazy. See what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of the power is in Galio. It's not in Yuumi. Galio mascots is just... wow, like you guys just saw right there, right? Like I don't need to say anything. Okay, please find this Gangplank right now. I promise you, it just really activates the comp. It's like activating your almonds, you know? You just got to do it sometimes. I don't see it. I did hit some Yuumis, so I'm not like that. Okay, finally. All right, put the... no, what are you... okay. Why am I putting a Giant Slayer on a 1-star Gangplank when I have this 3-star Nasus that's just sitting there chilling? There is no reason for that. I don't know what I'm doing this game. I would never do that now, though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just griefing. All right, this guy's playing Samira. She's pretty decent into this comp, but she doesn't have Last Whisper. She really needs Last Whisper to beat us. Holy cow. Was Galio actually out of execute range? Okay, nice. We beat her there. Holy cow. This guy's so mad. That's Samira's losing. It happens. It happens. So what item do we want here? We want a tank item. Also, like, yeah, I have 4 3-stars, and she doesn't have Last Whisper. So the power's in my tanks. It's not in my Yuumi. And he has, like, RFC Samira. Also has Rage Blade, which isn't the best option. Another thing is Samira has that whole, like, bounce attack. And mascots heal over time. You want single target damage against mascots. For example, that's why, what's his name? Jax is really good against mascots and Yuumi, because he's able to hit those mascots one at a time so that the healing doesn't matter as much, because he's not damaging AoE. So that's why, like, Jax is really good against this comp. But yeah, also you just need Last Whisper. I don't know how to explain that. If you're playing Samira without Last Whisper, you might as well just /FF the game and just not play, because it's such a big difference. It is by far her best item. It's just not even a question. We get a nice positioning with Yuumi. We snipe his Kaisa. He also has his Vayne, so he's duo carried, but our tanks are just too strong. We'd probably win no matter how we positioned this game. We probably could have had our Yuumi in the front line and still won, you know? But we're able to knock him out, so we're top 4 now. We hit our Yuumi 3-star at stage 5-5. That's pretty late. I don't know when the average time you hit it is without the augment, but it is definitely earlier than this. So what you should be doing now, since we don't need to roll for anything else, is... Oh, I finally did sell my Gangplank and put the Giant Slayer on Nasus, but at the end of the rounds, or right as the round's about to start, the timer's ticking down, you just need a scout, be on the right side, and see right here, we snipe his Kaisa. We would have won no matter what anyways, because we're so much stronger than this guy, but it does help to just position, just in case you face that one really strong guy that somehow wipes you out. This guy's about to hit all his 3-cost 3-stars, so we need to knock him out soon. And it's always fortunate to not fight him after he hits. Okay, so we needed a tank item, so Stoneplate seems pretty logical here. Chalice is decent. You could do second Giant Slayer, or RFC Nasus would have been very interesting. I'm kind of regretting not doing the RFC Nasus, but getting a tank item for Malphite, perfectly good, because it's good to stack items on him. For Galio, I like doing the utility tank items, such as Ionic Spark plus Sunfire. For Malphite, I like doing full tank, like Warmogs, Bramble, Declaw, like all those types of things are great on him. We are going to roll down to 10 here. One thing I noticed late game, or one thing I learned late game, this was back all the way in set 3, I think, and I've been doing it ever since. This player named Jigglypuff King, he's always high ranked. Some of you guys may know him, but he always rolls to 10 in the late game and then just rinse repeats until he dies. Obviously, if you know for sure you're about to die, you're on your last life, you roll to 0, but if you're not on your last life, you just roll down to 10. The reason why you do that is because you still get like a tiny bit of gold, but you spend a lot of it. And just if you have the option of econing all the way back up, you can do it from 10 gold because it saves you a ton of time, because that one extra interest, if you include the gold you get from winning, if you include the gold you get from like the carousel rounds, you can make it back up to 50 in like a couple turns. Whereas if you're at 0 gold, it's like very, very difficult to. So 10 gold is kind of like the sweet spot. You pretty much never roll past 10 gold unless you absolutely have to. This guy got a Samira 3. Holy cow. Now we're going to play the game of who is stronger, Yuumi 3 or Samira 3. Type your thoughts down below. We are going to fight him right now, apparently. He is at 20 life. We are at 31. And look at this Samira. She's on a Bramble, Bramble, Stoneplate, Warmogs, Malphite. Malphite is an armor tank. Whenever he casts his ability, he gets 150 armor. If you do not have Last Whisper on Samira, you shouldn't be playing Samira, and this is exactly why. We beat him there, and this guy's crying about it. Like, I get it. Samira's a 3-star 4-cost. Should she be stronger at that point? I believe so. I think she should be stronger. Should she always win? I don't think so either, because she doesn't have good items on them. Like, no Last Whisper on Samira is just griefing. Like, I don't know what to tell this guy. No need to pay attention to him, though. Let's just do our roll down. We're just hitting any random upgrade, preferably Rammus over Cho'Gath, because actually Cho'Gath's not that bad against him because he delays Samira's second cast, but don't have enough time to roll down, so I'd rather focus on positioning. Hopefully we could snipe the Samira. Honestly, I don't know if we want to hit the Samira, because I don't think we could one-tap her, and if we don't one-tap her, we feed her mana, so it might not even be good to target the Samira. So we get the Aphelios instead. We die. Bramblevest is really good against Oxforce because Yuumi gets them to the Oxforce health level, and then the Bramblevest kills them. And again, she gets stuck on the Malphite. You just need Last Whisper. Like, there's a lot of damage reduction that's going on there, and so we get the win here. So surprise, surprise, Yuumi 3 greater than Samira 3 if she's not itemized properly. But that is a very nice game. Let's move on into the next one. Let's get into the last game. This one is a little bit of a wacky game. You'll see me try to go for something, and then it's not quite in the cards, and then we have to switch to some weird comp, a pretty rare comp, but it's pretty good. We're going to start off, we're going to get the Gangplanks. I like Duelist start. We end up buying everything in the shop anyways because we got a gold drop and a tier. What do we want here? I opt to go for the Galio pair, but we probably want to pick up this Ezreal eventually because we do want to potentially use Undergrounds. We get 1 gold orb, we get a GP, and then the belt. Can we sell something to get the Ezreal? Hurry up. Okay, we do. Belt tier sword. So a couple of different item options there. We have Metabolic, Sunfire, Cybernetic Shell for the augments. So if I want a win streak, it's probably Sunfire. I default to Metabolic. It's one of my favorite augments. However, we do have we have 2 stars, so we want to win. So we go ahead and get Sunfire board. We're probably going to level up. Probably just build Redemption here. The reason why is because, let's level up first. Focus on one thing at a time. So probably sell maybe Renekton, level up, and play, I think Galio is tankier than Wukong. Nah, maybe Wukong's tankier. But it's for sure Redemption. I don't need the belt item for an anti-heal because I already have Sunfire board. The other option we could have done is maybe a Zeke's on the backline. I have not seen Zeke's played that much this set. You still need or people still need to figure out how to do a Zeke's comp. Last option would have been Shojin on Ashe. It wouldn't have been horrible, it just wouldn't have been good. She's not a good Shojin holder because when her ability's up, she doesn't generate mana from her auto attack. So it's probably one of the worst items on her. But, I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad. Just don't, it's Redemption. I should have played the Wukong over the Galio though. I think that's for sure. Because Wukong's a great solo tank because the more units he hits when he spins, the more resistances he gets. Gonna go ahead and swap our team around a little bit. I want the 2 duelists, and then I think Riven is gonna be the best solo tank for us, so we do end up selling Ezreal. Is that a mistake? Should we have kept Ezreal over the Riven? It's a really close call. I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. But if there's anyone who knows for sure which one's better, let me know down in the comments. But we have Ashe in the back line. We have the 2 duelists up front. So you want to play traits that you have units 2-star of. So I want to do the duelist with Gangplank. I also want to do the recon with Ashe. So maybe keeping the Ezreal in over the, what's his name, over the Riven might have been better. The thing is, I need tanks, right? Yasuo and Gangplank aren't really tanks. So that's why I wanted to play Riven over having recon in, because 2 recon doesn't really do that much stat-wise. It gives you around 20% critical strike chance, which when you think about it, just isn't that much, you know? It's a glove. So imagine I have an extra glove on my Ashe and my Ezreal, but I don't have a Riven to tank for me. When you put it that way, it doesn't sound that great. Also, who's going to hold the Redemption if I keep Ezreal in? So I think that's why I opted to keep Riven instead. But again, very, very close call. I'm sure it did not make that much of a difference. So we have a sword. We just grabbed the chain here. I think we just went for most expensive item. Potentially we could have gone the spatula, maybe go for some spatula high roll. Who knows? Maybe we get an Earth grab bag later on. Or maybe we do something wacky because we're kind of playing flex and then we just use the spatula for something else. But we level up, drop in the Renekton. Now our Riven's more tanky from Brawler. That carousel was pretty hard, but we were last pick, so we don't get that luxury of choosing our items. Who are we facing now? Someone with Jeweled Lotus. He's playing Kaisa. He's probably doing the Recon build. That's probably my favorite build of the set so far. Not because it's the best or anything, just because it's the most fun for me, because you get those hyphy fights. New shop here, we have a Yasuo pair. We also have the option of playing this Cho'Gath. Is Cho'Gath better than Renekton Riven? Probably. But who would we pair it up with? If there's nothing to pair it up with, then it might not be that great. I think it's Vi over Renekton, though. That's for sure. And we're always going to scout around because we won the first 4 fights. So whenever you lose or win the first 4 fights, you really have to scout long and hard. That's what she said. And make sure that you do indeed win the fights. Okay, no idea why this Renekton's still in there. Oh, I guess it's for Laser Core. Never mind. Renekton's better than Vi here. But yeah, you have to scout the boards and try to position as well as you can. I know it's hard because you're facing 3 different people, and in the early game, it's kind of tough to tell like who's actually stronger because some of the items might be weird. Some of the oh, you have this guy 2-star, but not that guy. And then like sometimes the focusing's weird. So generally what I try to do is position in a way that I focus one target if I'm a single target comp like I have now. I have Gangplank and Ashe as my main damage dealers. And then try to get my Yasuo to get a great Cyclone. So you want Yasuo on the edge of his tank. So if he has 3 tanks up front, he attacks the first one on, let's say, on the left or right. And then as he ults, he repositions himself and shoots the ultimate in a line. So just pay attention to what units you're running and try to just maximize their potential, so to speak. We get a bunch of gold, we get a rod, and last drop is a belt. Not the best items. Not the worst, but not the best. It's awkward because you normally build a Sunfire here or a Morello, but we already have Sunfire boards, so what's up with that? We get 2 Jaxes in our shop, which is really unfortunate because this can't be a Jax game. We have 0 bows, so unless we get specifically scoped weapons on the next augment, we just really can't play Jax reroll, which again is unfortunate. We're going to drop in 4 brawlers though. It's one of the strongest like early games, you know. It's just super tanky. 4 duelists is another option if you have that, but I guess I could play that here. I do have 4 duelists, but I guess since Riven's really my tank, I'm just gonna play for like fast 9 here. So I slammed the Locket, and you could do Locket in duelist build. This game I actually could transition into duelist, but I don't know if I'm thinking of that angle while in this game. I forgot what my mindset was. But since I'm playing the brawlers, maybe I didn't want to go duelist quite yet because Nyla is the key champion there. But the duelist build with Lockets is very popular right now. Do not underestimate it. It's probably one of my most played right now just because I kind of know what's going on. Looking at these augments, it's either boxing lessons or vitality of the ox. So if I'm going brawler, it's obviously Vi. If I'm going duelist, which I should have gone. I don't know why I did not go duelist this game. This should have just been a 4 duelist game, and then we won't have to think. It's like a free top 4. And then with the the Fiora augment that heals everyone. That's probably one of the best augments for like a 6 or 8 duelist comp because you just get so much value from it. Instead, we opt for boxing lessons. Boxing lessons is a bit more flexible, so you can do a lot more things with that. But since we had, maybe I scouted before and I saw other people going duelist, so I didn't really want to contest them. But even if you're contested duelist, it's still really easy to play if you have Lockets, and we already have one of them. The belt's a little awkward. We don't need another belt item. Redemption's not that great in a duelist comp, but we do have 1 sword for like an Edge of Night or for Vayne. Here we get the God Shop. Oh my lord. We're going brawlers, I guess, for a bit. I guess if we get scope weapons on the next augment, we could still go Jax. It's not something I would count on, and it's honestly not even that great because Locket is pretty wasted in a brawler build, but it is what it is. Locket's really good if you have a bunch of resistances or if you have no HP, but brawlers have no resistances and a lot of HP, so it's like the complete opposite comp for needing a Locket for. The only reason why it's like not completely trash is that you have a lot of melee units, and obviously you want to hit 5 units with your Locket. On this carousel, we want a bow to complete Giant Slayer, but those options aren't there. We're going to go for the crit. Maybe we could build like a shield breaker or something. We kind of need a damage item right now. If possible, I would like to replace my Ashe. Maybe IE wouldn't be so horrible either. Yeah, maybe guard breaker, just drop it on Ashe. We're just playing flex right now. So this is how playing flex works. You slam items so that you save HP, and then that allows you to get to level 9. And your win condition is hitting great stuff at level 9 and then outscaling all the other people who are playing regular comps. So the way other comps win is just hitting your comp really early and getting perfect augments. So those two are going to be clashing each other throughout the whole game. It's like at one stage, one style is stronger. At another stage, the other style is stronger. And it's just kind of like a back and forth dance. But you may notice a lot of times, like a lot of weird items are in these end game boards. And the reason why that happens is because you're playing flex, you're just slamming anything you can get. Generic damage items such as Giant Slayer and Shield Breaker are perfect for that. Tank items are really good too because you could fit them in any comp. So that's what we're going to try to do here. And then whatever carries we get, we're just going to drop it on them later on. So this guy's going Yuumi, it looks like, but actually no, he's going regular AP. He's just using Lulu as an item holder, it seems. There's this other duelist guy. He's so strong. Dude, duelist. Wait, he lost? Duelists are just way too good in the mid game. I don't know how you can lose with duelists in stage 3. It's pretty hard to. You'd have to face someone who's like turbo high rolling. We get this Rammus 2-star. That's pretty solid. This spatula, sword, and Negatron drop, which is a little unfortunate because remember there was a spatula on Carousel that we decided to skip. So I kind of wish I got it, but hindsight is a billion, right? The options we have are Laser Core Emblem and Admin. It's a little awkward. We are 100 streaking, so we don't need to slam the items. After or starting at stage 4, you don't really care that much about streaks anymore. you just want to play good TFT. So what does that mean? You just want to try to make sure when you roll down, it's at the optimal time or as optimal as possible. So that means like you need enough HP to live after you spike, so you could, just in case some BS happens where you lose a random fight. On the augments here, we get Think Fast. I'm too much of a boomer to use that if I don't know what I'm rolling for. We have Laser Core Emblem, and we have Band of Thieves. We already have like a ton of items, so I'm like, you know what? We have a spatula with a sword. So I'm just going to go for Laser Core Emblem, and we're just going to make a bunch of them. We're going to try to get to 6 Laser Core. I tried 9 Laser Core before. I believe you guys saw that game already on my channel. So we're going to do it again because it was really, really good, and we're not really getting anything else. There wasn't that much direction in the other augments. So just, yeah, Laser Core Emblem. Let's go. Drop the Senna in, and we'll have 6 after that. I guess replace Jax. And we'll just run the 3 Brawler for now. Who gets this Hand of Justice? I guess Ashe. Maybe she's our item holder. Who do we want those on? Yeah, we want it on Zed most likely. So we have an item remover. So we could just double item remove Ashe and use that to kind of just scale up. But 6 Laser Core, is it good? I guess if you get it for free like this, it's pretty decent. It's not my first choice of a comp, but apparently Mortdog swears by 9 Laser Core being Exodia. I tried it once. I did win that match, but yeah, it's just a lot of damage. Your Laser Core things just end up doing like at least 20k per fight when you get to 9. At 6, I believe it does like around 5k per fight. Obviously, it depends on how long the fight goes for. If the fight's really long, it's going to do more. If the fight's really fast, going to do less. But on average, I'd say it's around that amount. So what do we want to play with that? I'd say like threats for now would be pretty good. Maybe we could run Samira. Samira is good because we get sure shots. Then for some reason, I level up here. I don't think I needed to. You could do it to keep the streak. But again, like streaks aren't that important at like stage 4. But we do a bit of rolling as well. This is a big mistake. I think I wanted a Mr. 100 game. So this is trolling. Don't do this. Just save up your gold. Go to level 8 at 4 or 5. Or level up to 8 and then don't roll. Either or would have worked. But I went to level 8 with rolling. So I definitely don't think I should have rolled. Because you just want to spike, go level 9, and get 9 Laser Core at this point. And I didn't need to add any unit in. I leveled up to play a 1-star Samira with no items. Samira is pretty useless without items. So it's just, I think a level 1 Ashe might have been better to add over the Samira because she's Laser Core, so it gives me more procs or whatever, you know? And we end up losing the fight anyway, so even if we won this fight, I still think it's a mistake. It's important to look at stuff not results-based. If you're like, oh, we lost the fight, therefore it's bad, that's not the way to say it's bad. You have to say it's bad because we had 100 HP and we could have just saved the gold up to hit level 9 faster so that we could hit Mordekaiser, which is our win condition, and then we play 9 Laser Core. So what item do we want here? Probably just, we have a sword and a Negatron. Maybe just a tank item. Tank items are pretty good in Laser Core because it procs on whenever they get hit. So maybe I go for belt. I mean, both of them kind of suck. So I don't think it matters what I took here. Maybe Zeke's is pretty decent. We can get more auto attacks because auto attacks is another way to proc Laser Core. We're going to end up selling these Samiras. We're going to play Urgot instead. Urgot's really good if you want to win more. And right now, that's exactly what we're trying. I should also sell these Echoes to make 40 gold. Urgot just gives you extra gold, extra components. What's there not to like, you know? And since I have 94 HP, you want to use your health as a resource. So I'm down to play a unit that may not be as strong combat-wise as, let's say, maybe a Fiddlesticks or something. But Urgot still gives CC, but he also has a chance to get you loot and gold. Nothing to do in this shop, so we'll skip ahead. So what Laser Cores are we missing? So we have our replacement Ashe, but we also have an item remover. We're missing Zed, Sejuani, and Mordekaiser. So that's actually quite a bit. All the expensive ones, unfortunately, but we'll get them when we roll, most likely. We'll just kind of chill now. 6 Laser Core is pretty good at stabilizing because even with cheap units, like your main damage is from the trait, not so much from the, what's it called? From the damage of your units. I should sell the Echoes. I don't know why they're still on my bench. It's just some free gold I missed out on. Is this ASOL going to save us with good loot? We get a tier, we get a bow. Okay, we get a Giant Slayer. That's pretty good. And a Redemption's pretty decent as well. And with the Negatron, we could build an Ionic Spark. So Giant Slayer, Redemption, Ionic Spark. Maybe I don't want double Redemption. It's for sure Giant Slayer. I think Ionic Spark. Let's see what I end up picking. Ionic Spark's really good because Laser Core does magic damage. Ionic Spark reduces damage or reduces magic resistance of the enemy team. I opt for the Warmogs. What am I trying to do here? Warmogs, Giant Slayer, or maybe Runons, and then Chalice? I don't have to build the items yet because I do have the Urgot farming items. I go for Chalice. Okay, that's a mistake. It's for sure Ionic Spark. Maybe I didn't want to do double Redemption because it kind of has diminishing returns, because one of the effects of Redemption is reducing AoE damage, and you can't reduce it twice, right? Unless you spread it out. But yeah, it's definitely definitely Ionic Spark. Way too much value that we're missing out on. Mordekaiser does reduce magic resistance, but that's only when his ability is active. You want it active all the time, so it's not like a waste if you build both of them. We're still missing 3 of the most expensive, what's it called? Most expensive laser cores, but I guess we could wait since we're, again, 94 health. We're not in any rush. So a lot of people ask me, like, how do you know when to pivot for a comp? Well, again, this game, you guys saw, right? Like, we were win streaking. There are a lot of games people say they like, oh, I win streak stage 2 and 3. Didn't get the best items, but then all of a sudden I just bled out and I got like 6 even. Not even like a top 4 from win streaking. I got a 6. And a lot of times it's because people don't know when to commit to a comp. So obviously it was pretty easy this game because we had the laser core emblem already from the spare spatula that we had. Plus we got the augment for it. But we never planned to go laser core this game. We just saw what the world gave us, and then once we saw it, we took it. And there's always some option you can take. It's just going to change every time you play Flex. That's one of the, I guess, weird things about playing Flex. Also, I'm running an Ashe carry in stage 5. Hilarious. I should probably put it on the Senna. I put it on Urgot. Mistake. It should be on Senna. A lot of times, it's kind of just like a logic puzzle. You're just going to have to do things over time and kind of get used to it. Because TFT is essentially a drafting game, right? So, oh my god, Urgot hit so many people. We just get 3 gold for that? Really? Come on, Urgot, you could do better than that. We still win the round, but I was just surprised he hit so many people and only dropped 1 orb. Oh no, our last laser core dies. So we end up losing that round. We're at 68 life. We're hitting level 9 soon, so we should be able to get this Mordekaiser pretty reliably because we have a ton of gold. Probably level up next turn. We could wait until 6-1, maybe even 6-2 to level up. So let's say worst case scenario, we lose like 20 life per fight and we lose the next 2. 60 minus 20 minus 20, we'd be at 28 life, which is still 2 lives, right? So we could sack until 6-1. That's probably, okay, it's Ionic Spark for sure. Nope, I get the Rage Blade. I just hate Ionic Spark apparently. That's wild. Not that Rage Blade's bad. Rage Blade's good because you get a lot of procs as well, but like just lowering the resistances is so useful. I should play this Aphelios. But yeah, sacking 2 rounds wouldn't be the end of the world, I don't think. There's a Mordekaiser, so we need Zed and Sedge. There's Sedge, we need Zed. Roll down. Where is Zed? We need him for 9. It's such a big power spike. Dude, roll faster. Okay. We should play that. Sell the Echoes, my man. All right. Put it in for anyone. All right. We get some good weather. Items on Mord? Sure. Who gets this Rage Blade? Probably Senna. Yeah. Sell the... Why do I still have these stupid Echoes on my bench? Come on, sell them, please. We're never playing them. What synergies does Echo have with any laser core? Echo is a Star Guardian, Prankster, and Aegis. No laser core units have those traits, so why do we have him? We have him because we thought we were playing Flex, and he's a pretty good Flex unit. But since we just never ended up playing Flex, for some reason we forgot, and he's still on our bench. But we lost like maybe like 6 gold of interest from having him on our bench. There's the Sedge, so I'll probably drop the Riven. Why do I complete this guy? I mean, is he better than Rammus? Is he even better than... I guess I have Aegis from Vi. Is that why I kept him? Maybe that's why I kept him. But like, who cares about boxing lessons? It's late game. Boxing lessons is for early game. Okay, Laser Core Emblem. Put him on, put him on, put him on. Yeah, you don't need the boxing lessons late in the game. Like, it's like Floyd Mayweather, right? He's super old. He knows how to box already. He doesn't need any lessons anymore. But maybe when he was younger, it helps, you know. I wonder how he actually trained to become a world-class boxer. Apparently, like, his dad coached him. But I wonder how good he would be if he had, like, any random coach. I don't know. I don't actually know the full history. Maybe his dad didn't even coach him. Maybe that's just like a storyline or something. But we're at 60 HP. Wow, we only lost 8 HP in the last loss. That's really good. Let's see what item we get here. I dropped someone to put in Aphelios. Okay, I guess maybe Stone Plate. Just get more tankiness on Sejuani. Edge of Knight on Zed would be good too. So both options fine there. Runon's good on Zed also. Doesn't really matter what you pick here. None of the options are really screaming out at me. So let's find the Zed. We just need one Zed. I don't even think... Okay, there he is. People were playing Zed. So take out this Echo, man. Like, you don't need this Echo, dude. Right. There's just no synergies with Echo. He's not even that good of a splash unit without synergies because he slows attack speed. Am I even facing attack speed comps? Okay, I am. I'm facing a duelist. Okay, maybe there's some merit to Echo, but yeah, maybe there's some merit to Echo. Aphelios is so good though. He's AoE stun. I feel like that's more value than Echo's attack speed reduction. But holy cow, 9 laser core. I guess it doesn't matter. That's an easy win there. I guess we could... There's this guy, 47 health, huge win streak. I guess we could find this Mord too, though. That's a pretty big upgrade. We should just donkey for this because we're just one off and the game's almost over and you can't take gold into the next game, right? There's Fiddlesticks. I should definitely pick that up. Probably play that over the Echo. Urgot over Echo as well. Even Janna. Janna's not that important for my comp. Sell this Aphelios. I should play... Okay, so... Ideally, I think it's Fiddle, Aphelios would be the best combo. Because Aphelios, his stun is just so useful, right? And Fiddlesticks, huge CC as well. It's just much better than whatever Janna and Echo can do. I don't even know what the weather is. It looks like it's windy. I don't even know what windy weather does. Like, I know what all the effects are. One gives mana, one gives a shield, one gives AP and AD. But I don't know which one's rainy, which one's windy, which one's sunny. But they all do... one of those things. Holy cow, this Senna actually finished that just because of laser core. 25k damage, insane. Actually, no, that was from last fight. We'll have to find out how much damage it did afterwards. We end up getting another Aphelios. Roll again, roll again. There's Aphelios 2 and a Zed. Please sell the... Don't tell me I lock. Dude. I'm very disappointed in my play. Okay, finally. Yes, get rid of him. Why am I checking damage charts? Echo's never going to show up in the damage chart because he doesn't do damage. He's a CC unit. So I don't know what I'm checking, guys, but we apparently just give Chalice and Locket value to our Mord, and hopefully Mord just smurfs off. I think Mord gets blocked here. No, he does not. My Yasuo did the long walk of shame. Where's this Mord ult? Whack. Not that much damage. Wow, he's got triple damage item. Granted, they're like semi-damage items, right? But he did like pretty much 0 damage there. Is this guy running like 50 billion Aegis or something? We actually lost a round. Holy cow. He is Cursed Crown, so we just need to win one fight. Let's see what we get here. Maybe he's Mecha Prime. We'd want a Giant Slayer, but I go for the Fiddle 2. Yeah, that's fair. Fiddle 2 is a pretty big upgrade. I don't really need items. I guess a tank item on Sejuani would be the best if I couldn't afford anything else. Yay, we sold him. Okay. Yes, item remove him. We get that. Okay, laser core the Fiddle. Chalice of Janna. Why don't I Chalice Janna? It's 100% Chalice Janna. RFC on Zed, sure. Doesn't really matter. Locket on probably... Yeah, if I did Chalice and Locket on Janna, that probably would have been the play. And then eventually Aphelios over Janna, and we'd be good to go. Okay, how's this fight looking? Mordekaiser actually did damage that time. Actually, not really. Normally when I see Mordekaiser 2-star, he wipes whole boards, but I guess this guy's Mecha Prime, so it's kind of hard. But we lost that fight. Ouch. We are at 32 health now. It sounds troll, but you might want to play Vel'Koz in this situation, because against Mecha Prime, that's one way to counter them. because they only care about one unit, and Vel'Koz CC's the one specific unit that you hate. So I think he might be the best champion to play right now. Who would I replace for it? Maybe the Aphelios. I think Fiddle's too good to give up on. But yeah, I guess we'll just do this. Mordekaiser's honestly like letting me down a little bit. Laser core on him. Yeah, just lock it in the middle. And I mean, even if we lose this round, we still have a chance to get a really good item on the next dragon round. And I think an item for us means a lot more than an item for him. Somehow we wipe his board this time, so I don't think his Wukong is able to win this. What happened different this fight than the other fight? I don't really know. But he has Cursed Crown, so he just dies right there. And that's the double-edged sword of Cursed Crown, but very nice win there. I think if we lost that round, we still would have won because we would have gotten a better item off the next round. But hopefully this video helped you all see some different types of games. And yeah, good luck on your journey from unranked to diamond, wherever you are. Hopefully showing you one game at each elo kind of helps you see like the difference in play styles of all the other people. I'm going to be doing one for like reroll unranked to diamond, like reroll only, or like one comp only, and then do the same thing for like to masters, GM, and then eventually challenger. So definitely look out for those videos. I'm so glad you guys stuck around this whole time. If you did, type bunny in the comments below, and I hope to see you guys in a future video.